there.
On that camera.
Yeah, that camera's not great. This is what we record on.
You look fine. It's literally like I'm like in a soft, like, you see that? There's like a soft glow right here.
You're like, what is it? Whoopi Goldberg and Ghost? Are you Kevin Costner and Ghost? Which one's the ghosty person? Swayze. There you go. You're Swayze and Ghost. It's gonna be weird for people coming in now. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike. This is Magic.
Hi.
We are going to do the late pick four.
Which camera are we supposed to look at? That one. Okay.
We're doing the late pick four from Saratoga for Saturday. We got in a couple minutes early here, so people come into the room. We're going to start right around 11 o'clock with the podcast. You will realize just how off the cuff this whole thing actually is. We don't really do takes. We don't really do segments.
No. I don't even hit stop when we're recording. We just go.
We just kind of talk for an hour and hope that it turns out okay. So you're gonna get a little live action there. We both handicapped the sequence. My ticket, I think it's really tough. So I have, I'm not singling anywhere and playing a larger ticket with some depth in every leg. Magic found a single somewhere, but he won't tell me where. So we'll find out in real time in that one.
Yeah, maybe it's a possible single. I'll explain more on that one later. But
I'm gonna talk into a $60 ticket. That's really what's gonna happen.
It's possible. It is. I either single for 30 or I double up for 60.
You won't even tell me the race.
Nope.
So
it's not a stakes. You know that much. It's not a stakes race.
So it's got to be one of the last two. Although the 10th, what is it? No, yeah, the 10th is pretty much a stakes race with the like competition level that ended up in there. Although you have a classic horse who's won twice at the meet already at Saratoga, who has the worst name ever. Although I always call it Slimmy instead of Slimy, just because it's Saratoga.
I know. Why would you name a horse Slimy?
It's not great. It's not great.
That's just mean.
I get why you name a horse Pofidis Nuts. That's funny.
Because that's funny.
Yeah, right? But like, why would you go with Slimy? That's not really funny.
No, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, then that race, there's actually 3 or 4 of them are cross-entered in a turf race Friday at Saratoga. They're all MTOs.
So this was our biggest struggle in picking the sequence. We were talking about doing the Del Mar late pick 4, and then we were talking about the Saratoga late pick 4. And one of the biggest struggles was actually, we're not positive who's going to be running in the 4-star Dave because we got some horses coming back really fast. And then we have this MTO issue in the 10th,
right,
where we have horses cross-centered. So we're going to obviously do our tickets at the end here, but make sure you pay attention to the Twitter feeds because we'll do updates. And if there are tickets there, we'll make sure we update them and kind of let everyone know who we end up with. The rain's held off so far. It's not supposed to rain in Saratoga last time I checked. Tomorrow or Saturday heavily, so we should be fast and firm.
It's just a matter how, well, because they got a storm tonight. As soon as the card ended, they got hit. So it's a matter of how much that just screws everything up.
I would hope that if there's no other rain, we're good for Saturday. Tomorrow, we got to keep an eye on it, obviously.
Right, yeah.
But hopefully, especially these late races, which are going to be the stakes races, you'd assume that we're going to be good to go here in the with the on the turf. We're following along on Twitter and on YouTube, so we're on both for Racing Dudes. We will be occasionally looking at the YouTube comments, but we have the Twitter feed up constantly. We have to pull up the past performances so we can explain why we're picking horses. So it's a little tougher sometimes.
You don't have it memorized?
No, I couldn't even.
I have mine memorized. If you pick a horse that's not one of mine, then I've got no idea what you're talking about.
I couldn't even tell you the numbers without looking at my screen.
That's fair.
But it is a fun sequence, and I do think that there's some really interesting horses in this one. So hopefully we can get one of these home. We've had some pretty good success the last few times that we both picked a ticket. So hopefully we can keep that success rolling.
Yeah, and they were at Saratoga. So you know what? It's funny because I thought that we might trade off between Saratoga and Del Mar based on the card. We've been all Saratoga at this meet, and I'm not complaining. We've been because I actually was successful and you were successful. And then we had a couple of close calls. I don't know. Saratoga seems like it's doing better. Del Mar's just been so chalky.
The field sizes has been the biggest issue with Del Mar. Like the reason I love Del Mar last year is we're consistently getting 14 horses with 2 also eligibles. We're getting 12 in every single field. Yeah, it was incredible. And you're getting prices because of that. I mean, the more horses, the more likely you are to find a price. And even if you don't, the more valuable a favorite single is in these pick 4 sequences because it's hard to single in a 12-horse race for a lot of people. Whereas in a 6-horse field, it's a lot easier to single. If the favorite wins, it's an over-single favorite. And that's what we've been getting a lot at Del Mar, especially in those bigger stakes races, which happen to be later in the card on Saturday, which is what we usually try and cover because we know that people are going to be playing those sequences.
Yeah. All right. We hit 8/11/whatever time zone you're in. You want to go?
Let's do it.
Cool. All right. Before we get going, for those of you who are watching, if you get on the Periscope feed, if you have any questions, comments, etc., what Mike and I do is we'll hang out. We'll do the show. And then once we're done recording, we just hang out until you guys are done asking us questions and stuff. So usually by that point, we're a couple drinks in. And once we are done recording the podcast, we get a lot more loose-lipped. So if you have questions or something, you can do it with Periscope as we go. I'll be checking on it, but questions not related to the sequence, we'll definitely get to those afterwards.
Yep. Yeah, I think the last time we stayed on for about half an hour and answered questions for all
or YouTube. Hey Dennis, I see Dennis is over the log in there.
What up, Dennis? Yeah, we definitely answer questions. Anything from like favorite angles to like how you started horse racing, the whole deal. So by all means, stick around. It's a little not safe for work once we get done with the pod. But
no F-bombs.
Only one.
Well, unless you're Jared and you were drunk and then there's about 7 of them. Yeah. And you just go, I'm not going to edit.
We will avoid the F-bomb. We'll get out of those. None of those. All right.
I do need another beer, though. I did not know where that was going to land.
He just threw it on my bed.
This is not either one of our houses.
This is the Airbnb. So I'm in California for work, and so we get the opportunity to do this. So Magic is just throwing beer on my bed. That's
kind of fun to watch. Like there's like a 10-second delay on the Periscope from what we say to where it shows up. So watching me throw it like that and going like this was fun. Okay, we will get going. Mike said I checked our audio. We should be fine. Cool. 3, 2. Well, now I hit record. I forget that I don't have to count down.
I'm right here.
Cool. 3, 2. What's up, everybody? I'm Magic.
And I'm Mike.
And this is the Magic Mike Show live from Santa Monica, episode 95, Mr. Summers.
95.
We're so close to 100. I'm so excited. I can't believe people actually care. We're almost to 100.
It's pretty crazy, man. Like even when we have like Magic on AM radio, people listen now. It's pretty incredible.
That was terrible.
I didn't think it was gonna be that bad when I was recording. I'm not gonna lie. It sounded better on the
right. That's the thing. So what happened if you didn't catch it is last episode, my computer right when we were about to record, we had like an hour that turned into a 45-minute window in which we could record. And my computer decided to just do its update at that point.
It was about a 45-minute update.
It was a 45-minute update because it stopped right when we stopped recording. I looked at my computer and it had turned itself on. But Mike had to record for both of us, and I was through a Bluetooth headset, and I thought it was fine. I've been on multiple calls with it. I feel like if the audio sounded like shit, you would have said something like, "Hey, Magic, this isn't working. Do you have another headset or something?" Did the whole show think it's fine? You sent me the file. I go to edit, and then the first thing I do, I was like, "Oh my god, it was so bad." So I'm really sorry.
Finally, it was a recap show. We got like people love these Pick 4 shows. We've been crushing it. The recap show's been doing really well. Thank you everybody for listening and watching here. And like it's amazing the fact that everyone's growing and it's getting bigger and bigger. But yeah, these are the shows we love.
This is the one.
We love these Pick 4 shows. They're so much fun to do.
Oh, when I started, so Brandon and I went down to Del Mar a couple of weeks ago, and on the car ride we were talking about the show and the site and like that. And one thing I told him is that when I originally hatched the idea for a second podcast, it was just to do a recap show. And I talked to you about it before you'd even officially come on board. And then you were like, "Oh, I'll be your first guest." And if you listen to episode 1, at the end, I thank you for being my first guest. And then you just never left. And then we started doing the Pick 4s, which is something that you wanted to do.
Yep.
And now everybody loves the Pick 4s, and people listen to the recaps. But this is what people love. Not me burping, but
live show, guys, live show. Yeah,
I'm on the course.
Well, I love doing this too because I feel like one of the things I talk about all the time is it's really important to keep learning. And this show is how you learn in my mind. Even like when you're talking about horses and angles and horses that you find, it makes me go back and look at horses and you find new angles. And we have people talking about their tickets and tweeting at us. I mean, I posted we're doing the late Pick 4 at Saratoga, and people already said I like this horse in this race. This is why. I double check that horse. I didn't use it.
Yep.
Like, and so I love doing this show because of the interaction around it and the fact that it's a good way for everyone to get better. And that's really, I mean, no one here is doing this to make a living. We're all doing this to have fun. Yeah,
we're in trouble.
We're doing this to have fun and because we love the game and we want people to get better at the game, get excited about it. And we've been fortunate enough to get some tickets home. It's really the community. Like that's what I talked about. What drew me to horse racing was hanging out with my uncles and the community of it, and then eventually my friends. And I love that we're building a community around the Magic Mike Show now. And so it's really cool to see all the comments and everyone chiming in and playing our tickets.
I was telling Mike when I was at Del Mar that one of our followers literally leaned over a rail in front of my face and yelled Magic. And I was like, hey, and then I'm like, wait, nobody calls me Curtis.
Yeah.
Like Brandon doesn't even call me that when we're at the track. It's like when we're in the car, it's Curtis. As soon as we step out of the car, it's Magic. So it's,
Yeah, it was cool being in Saratoga, meeting some of the fans. Steve specifically, shout out to Steve, awesome dude.
Evil Steve?
Yeah,
I've only ever heard stories. Someday I'll meet him.
Met him at the track. He came over to my family's lake house, was drinking beers with them on our deck. Like, really cool guy. Like, so it's awesome.
Had you heard stories about him before? Because I don't know that I would have done that.
No.
Okay.
I had not heard stories about Evil Steve. I mean,
Okay.
Aaron vouched for him, so it was even worse an idea.
Oh my God. Yeah, this will be fun.
No, it is cool. Like it's awesome to see the people and just to hear how excited everyone has been about the show, and it's like so humbling. It's really cool.
So other than being back in LA and seeing me walking around and not on crutches or broken, what's the best thing you've seen this week?
I mean, okay, this isn't the best thing I've seen this week, but it's what I'm most excited about seeing this week. Preseason football.
Yeah.
It's not great, and it's preseason, but it means we are 4 short weeks away from being able to bet on NFL football, which makes me very excited. I was probably a year too early on the Browns, although I would never bet them at the current odds to win the Super Bowl now. But I'm excited to get my NFL.
I forgot that you picked him when I had a rookie quarterback. Thanks for reminding me.
If I'd only put that $50 on the Blues at 400 instead of 100 to 1 on the Browns.
Oh, we'd still be playing Gloria.
Oh,
yeah,
I still am playing Gloria. I don't even need money.
That's great. No, so we were talking about beforehand about how you get ESPN on, and they were talking about preseason and how I was getting the alerts that at the end of the first quarter the Lions are down 20-0. I'm like, it's like we never left football season. It also means Hard Knocks is coming. And Hard Knocks actually has premiered. Yeah, and I haven't watched it yet. I am 2 days after the premiere, and I still haven't watched. I don't know what's wrong with me. I've been too busy with this stupid horse racing stuff. I haven't watched Hard Knocks. I love Hard Knocks.
Apparently, John Gruden is crazy. Like, that is what we heard right out of the gate. Apparently, he was absolutely nuts. And, like, I want you to be everyone's nightmare. Like, you all had dreams to make the NFL. Now I want you to be a nightmare. And you're just like, oh, John. Oh, John.
Did we lose our Twitter video feed?
We're double checking right now. That's why.
Okay. I just noticed that it froze on our end. So, I don't know. All right. So, okay.
No, we're still live.
No, people are okay. Yeah. So just froze on my. I'm still getting the chat. So that's the good. I mean, honestly, that's the most important thing. If the chat's working, it means the video's working.
We're good to go.
It's Magic's computer. That's usually what the problem is.
It's the Magic Mike show. If it went off without a hitch, then
damn, ain't that the truth?
Something would be wrong, right?
Yeah, we had too many good ones there. Where we're too many issues.
I don't even know how you got it in that nice little screen there. Do I just hit refresh? See what happens? This is all
no, because I'm gonna lose the. That's fine.
This is all gonna be on the podcast too.
I know, it's so great. It's raw. It's just like the Jared one, except we haven't dropped 5 F-bombs in the first 2 minutes.
Well, we're not drunk yet. So
that's working on it.
What about you? What's the best thing you've seen?
So the best thing that I've seen this week. So we talked about we talked before about why we got into horse racing.
Yeah,
you got in with your family. It was a family thing, and then you got into the betting and the horses and everything like that. For me, I got in for betting, but that was like the initial thing. But what really got me is I'm just an animal person, and I love horses. So the first time I went to Santa Anita, there was, if you've been to Santa Anita, the tunnel, you can literally stand at the tunnel when they go from the paddock to the track, and it will be, you can see the horses there, and then in between races, all of the outrider ponies are there for you to pet if you wanted to feed them, that sort of a thing. So I got to do this really awesome thing on Tuesday with one of my friends where she manages a farm and she knows a bunch of horse people a little north of here. And so I actually got to go with her to these different farms and just pet horses and play with horses. And there were some goats that were there and some other animals, but it was just like, hey, do you want to pet this horse? Okay, how about this horse? Okay, how about this horse? And it was just like, I'm not talking like quarter horses, draft horses, there were thoroughbreds. Yeah. It was just the coolest thing. Just I spent all Tuesday going to different little farms with my friend, and just like she's like, all right, how about this horse? I'm like, yeah, I do.
Of course,
it was fun.
Horses are awesome.
It was great. None of the horses were anyone that you would know that have even really raced or nothing. I don't care. They could have been, the stallion right there. But I'm like, I just want to kind of
horse with them. They're incredible animals. They're so smart. Like one of my favorite racehorse experiences. I have a family friend who breeds horses in Arkansas, and they keep some of the horses on their farm afterward. Okay. So we went horseback riding, and we rode 3 horses. And I rode a colt who had won 7 of his 11 starts and then gotten hurt, but all in like lower level Oaklawn Park type races. But we're trail riding. My horse refused to be third. Every single time he got past, he literally took the outside, and we're like going over creeks where he's jumping past horses to get in front of them. Mm-hmm. Absolutely crazy, but it shows you how much they love what they're doing and understand what they're doing. And it makes you really appreciate the horse a little bit more and the whole process that they go through to be great. And how much heart matters. And that when you're racing too, the horse wants to win. Yeah.
It's just, in that case, your instincts would kick in and you think about that, but yeah, it's just fun. So it was just a really great. I mean, I right now I'm still home from work, so I sit on my butt doing rehab all the time. so any excuse to get out of the house is great. But if it's like, if one of my friends is like, hey, you want to go pet a bunch of horses for like 4 hours? Yeah,
I totally do.
Yes, I do. Where do I meet you and how do we make this happen? So on today's show, if you didn't catch it yet, or if you're just listening, not on the live version, we're taking on the late pick 4 at Saratoga on Saturday, August 10th. They've got 2 stakes races. There's some turf, there's some dirt, there's some claiming. It's 2-year-olds. It's all sorts of fun. We got a little bit of everything, so you get to really see Mike's handicapping strengths come through here, and you get to hear me babble as well. If you are watching live, like I said before, let us know your questions. If you follow us on Periscope or on Twitter or on YouTube, just let us know if you have any questions or them. We'll do the after show. If you are listening to the podcast and you do want to watch the video, it's going to be saved forever on the YouTube page. So just go to youtube.com/user/racing-dudes, and it should be there.
It's a little scary.
A little scary.
Yeah. You also got to stop being so self-deprecating. You did crush a pick 4 for $36. You paid almost $1,400.
Listen, broken clock's right twice a day, right?
Or once every 95 episodes.
I've given out 3 winning tickets. So
see, there you go. This is what I want. Come on.
Every 32 episodes.
There we go.
All right, let's get right into it, everybody. Riders up. I love this pause in between when we're live because we just sit here, we wait so that Magic creates a little buffer so we can see that the sound stopped. Although I'm talking, so that doesn't help.
Really reading comments real quick.
Oh, okay.
You should be able to, Dennis, you should be able to go right onto Twitter on the Racing Dudes feed, and you should be able to comment right in there. You don't necessarily need to be on Periscope, I don't think. And someone asked if about, I think it was the 1 horse in the last at Saratoga. I did have him on top as a single in the picks today. Picks at the last 3 races at Saratoga were very good, and I'm really mad I didn't have the pick 4 because I totally should have. But yeah, no, we had the 1 in the last at Saratoga at least.
I had a funny story about that. I'll save it for later. All right, 3, 2. All right, kicking off late pick 4 at Saratoga for Saturday, August 10th. We're going to start with the Grade 2, $200,000 Saratoga Special Stakes presented by Miller Lights. Field of 8 juvenile males entered to go 6.5 furlongs on the main.
It really is Miller Lite?
It really is Miller Lite. I wasn't kidding.
I was like, oh, someone's pissed.
No, this wasn't a Jared jam. I really. You got a field of 8 juvenile males entered to go 6.5 furlongs on the main track. You have more than favoritism on the 3 Green Light Go. He's 2-1. And loyal listeners, you might remember Green Light Go because back in episode 85, Mike and I previewed the late pick 5 at Belmont Park for July 4th. And this horse killed us because this was, I think he was the first race of the whole effing sequence because you and I both said, first time out for Jimmy Jerkins. He looks like he's got a lot of talent, but not first time.
We're going to need another
Jimmy
race.
Jerkins is great second time, not great first time. And what did that stupid horse do? He went out and crushed it. He's got a best in the field 84 buyer coming into this one. I got to ask, are you going to let him beat you twice or are you going to stick with him this time?
I mean, apparently Magic Mike show is now like poster board or bulletin board material.
Bulletin board
like,
material.
Jerkins like took a clip, put it on a little note card, tapped it up against his stall. And he's like, Magic Mike don't believe. I'm using, he's not my top pick. He's my second pick in here. The horse that he ended up beating by 3 1/4 lengths, Another Miracle, came back to win. Another Miracle is one of the American Pharoah horses that actually won on dirt, which is relevant. We talked about American Pharoah last time and how those horses have been running better on turf. Well, the horse that ran second here actually did come back on dirt. I wanted to double check that before the show.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So he did come back and win, going 5.5 over the dirt. So that I think does help Green Light Go a little bit here. And again, this horse has every right to improve off this race. I'm actually going to go to the 6th horse as my top pick here, King Snake. So it is a colt it's an elusive quality colt out of a French deputy mare. I think it's going to like the dirt significantly more than it liked the synthetic in its first start. It went 5 furlongs. It was able to make the lead going 22.45 over a track that wasn't playing that fast. I like the fact that it got bet down at 2-1 that day. This is a Calumet homebred. Notice that Drayden Van Dyke picked up the mount at Arlington. And now we're getting Jose Ortiz at Saratoga. Those to me are tipping the hand that this horse has some real talent. And then you look at the workouts, 46 flat out of the gate, first out of 63. That was on July 6th, right before. Now on August 3rd, 47-1 at Keeneland. They're shipping this horse up. They believe this horse can run big and improve. I'm willing to kind of give it a little bit of a pass. It was able to make the lead last time, which I like. I think this horse is going to be able to show speed again or stalk. And that 79 buyer is pretty strong. So if I'm correct and this horse likes dirt more than it likes the synthetic, and it takes a step forward second time out, I think he could be ultra tough here. I think 8 to 1 morning line is a fair price. And with these races, you see more improvement first to second starters, 2-year-olds than any other place. So I don't take too much into account that the 3 horse ran the best buyer overall.
Yeah, it's tricky with these buyers with these 2-year-olds because there's such a wide variety. I mean, you got 84 for him. You got 64 for long weekend, and then you got 79. So King Snake actually is the only maiden in this field. At this level so early, I'm with you. If he was a maiden and I really liked him, I wouldn't be afraid to use him. Yeah. It's not uncommon in these 2-year-old stakes to see a maiden come up and win like that. But what is interesting is that both he and Peruvian Boy, who beat him by a nose in that maiden special weight, they're both coming from Arlington for this race. If I was using a horse from that race, I would by far take King Snake over Peruvian Boy. I think it's a better jockey. I think it's a better setup for him.
We also got the second amount improvement from Peruvian Boy. We haven't gotten that from King Snake yet. So he's more likely to improve a larger amount. They both have the right to improve, but King Snake's upside is significantly higher. And Nick brings up a good point in the chat. He is cross-entered at Prairie Meadows. I think they're taking a shot here to try and get Saratoga black type. I think that's, and if they do, I think that tells you even more that they think this horse is live.
And I didn't actually, I had totally forgotten that he was crossing at Prairie Meadows. I meant to look at I don't even know what race he's entered in, if it's a main special weight or something over there. Nick says he thinks that he's going to scratch and go to Prairie Meadows.
It's the 8th race.
The 8th race, thank you. I got that. I meant what? Never mind. We haven't even been drinking yet, that much. No, that's it. And also, we've talked before about Calumet Farm when they have horses that they keep because they're a breeding operation. If they only keep the ones they think are going to be their best,
right?
Or unless there's one that might go for $2 or $3 million, but otherwise. But so yeah, not a bad pick there. I did go green light go on top. I refuse to let that horse beat me a second time. But it's not just that. If you look at his works, back-to-back bullets coming into this one. It's not just that he won by a monster amount. And if he can repeat the 84, I think he's got this field crushed. But I also love that Jimmy Jerkins and Alvarado, they're 25% with positive ROI at Saratoga together. They're 32% overall with a positive ROI. The bullets I mentioned, I did not make him a single, though, because I think that if you were trying to single somewhere, I feel like he's one of the, and I am singling, but I feel like he's going to be a common single, if that makes sense. I think the 84 is going to stand out to a lot of people, and they're going to see the 2 Arlington horses. 79 was on synthetic connect transfer. I feel like a lot of people are going to go with him on top. So I'm actually, as a single, I'm actually going to use him with the 2-0 mid. I like that he's 5-1, much better than 2-1. Green light go, I'm thinking it's probably 6-5, 7-5 when he goes off.
Yeah,
like
he'll
that.
be bet down for 2-1.
Yeah.
You're not getting 2-1.
The Zayats have been very high on this horse, and I thought that I remember that. I double checked with Aaron before we went live because I was like, I swear I remember this. I don't want to say it and sound like a dumbass on here. But at $275,000 auction purchase, this is the most expensive auction purchase in the field. If you ignore that first start where he was in the slop, maybe he didn't like the slop, maybe he needed it under his belt. I really like his maiden breaker because he actually had to run 3 wide in the far turn. And then he had that really long Churchill down stretch that he had to deal with. And he had to sustain that speed and that move and to keep kind of separating a little bit from him. And there's another thing too, Asmussen and Santana, that's an angle that if you listen before, I love Asmussen and Santana together. They don't usually run for Zayat. Zayat doesn't usually give horses to Asmussen. There's something there that I'm feeling like they think that, I don't know if they like Asmussen, if they just got sick of Tom Pletcher or what, but there's just something about this that it all kind of fits together. And I know that they've been really hyping Zero Mid a lot. So hopefully it pans out and I can get either green light go or Zero Mid home. Did you have Zero Mid at all on your ticket?
I went 3 deep and Zero Mid was the third I used.
Okay.
I thought that he was one that had a lot of chance to improve. City Zip specifically had a lot of success at Saratoga. Won the, I think it was the special and then the hopeful, but definitely dead heated for the hopeful in the rain. I was there. I remember that.
That's a really good memory.
We ran for tables and then got torrentially downpoured on, and were able to get inside and get chairs. I remember my uncle hit 6 back-to-back, 6 exactas in a row, but he was boxing 4 horses, and with the scratches, there were like 8 in each field. He was so drunk. He was so happy with himself. And the culminating moment was when there was a 5-horse field and he hit the exacta with 4-horse box, and he was just ecstatic. And that just, yeah, it's one of the reasons I love the track. But yeah, back to Zero Mid. Look, this horse took a big time step forward second time out.
Yes.
Clearly likes Saratoga. Losing to Snellia and Half Moon Reef is nothing to be ashamed of in his first race. Was bet down heavily in his first race. Bet again in his second race here at Saratoga. I'm going to give him a full pass at Churchill because of the slop as much as anything else.
Yes.
I think that's another thing you have to focus on here. And this horse sold for $275,000. It clearly is a horse that likes Saratoga and is going to run. And I love the fact that it was professional. I like it when 2-year-olds are able to rate and win and they don't need the lead, but they're able to show speed. You know, I'm a little concerned the one horse who was 3 lengths back of 46.5 is going to be 8 to 10 lengths back. because you're going to see a 23, 22, 45 time here. And so he's going to be a little further back. That's why I don't give him as much credit for rating. But the two horses looked really professional last time out, and that's what really impressed me. I like the upgrade to Santana here for Asmussen. I think this horse is ready to fire too. I agree with you. I think that Green Light Go is going to be the most overbet horse in the sequence. Not that he's not a deserving favorite. I just think he's going to be the most overbet horse.
But you don't want, Mullen, especially I learned from you, if you think a horse is going to get narrowed down to close to even money, you hit these big scores by looking for how can that horse get beat.
Especially in these 2-year-old races where we just talked about, it's the most likely time for someone to improve. I don't really want to go short on the horse that had the best number because that's what everyone else is going to do. I'd rather take a shot. I mean, they ran a race, I can't remember the name of it, on Sunday, where you had two horses. One was a Mott horse, the other was an Asmussen horse, who both run in the 80s in Buyers. And you had a horse jump up who would run a 60 previously with Ortiz on it. It was the 3-horse, I'm not going to be able to remember the name, Saratoga Special. But he was able to improve his Buyer big time. And that horse paid 9-2, but in the pick fours, it played like a 12-1 because you had a 6-5 and an 8-5 in the race. And so these are chances where people are going to overbet the limited information, and that's where you try and find who can take a step forward.
Is Green Light Go the third horse? You said you went 3 deep. Did you go?
Yeah, so I went. Okay. My top pick was the 6. The 3 was the one I thought you had to use no matter what. It's not even a defensive play. I think you have to include it. And then the 2 horse was my next horse in. So I'm going to end up 3 deep with 2, 3, 6. So
a horse that I had given a little consideration to. And then I know Dennis likes, and now I've seen the Aaron likes. Let's talk about real quick the 5 Long Weekend. This is a horse that just completely destroyed a field, made special weight at Churchill Downs back in June. And I mean, this horse was, at first call was 2 lengths clear. Wins by 5, had to be completely under wraps there with Miguel Mena. Now Joel Rosario comes on board for Tom Amos. This horse isn't a slouch. I mean, he was purchased for $225 back in April. Getting Rosario on board here when he doesn't really ride for Amos. Amos has been doing pretty well, I thought, at this Saratoga meet, especially the 2-year-olds. He's 27% with a positive ROI. Now I'm nervous because now we've got a couple of people that just follow this that are saying, watch out for this horse. Why didn't you include Long Weekend?
I just wasn't that impressed with anyone else in there. So I went back and looked at that race and who else was in there. And I don't think that much came out of it. The Buyer wasn't great. It came back as a 64. And I agree with you. He was definitely under wraps down the stretch. But, he was able to clear a 2-length lead going 22-3. He wouldn't even be on the lead going 22-3 if he does that today. He was able to clear a 4-length lead going 45-4. Wouldn't even be on the lead going 45-4 today. So I think he's going to be in a lot deeper water here. And the fact that Mena was on him the first time out means to me that they didn't think this horse was a world beater. That's the fact of the matter. Usually when you see these horses, the really like the Derby horses, the big time 2-year-olds, you see a specific set of jockeys that are on them if they're that good.
Gotcha.
And the fact that King Snake got Drayden Van Dyke, he's one of those jockeys where you see that horse end up there, right? Even Zyramed, JB's a Churchill, but gets Flavian Giroux. I'm sorry, Florent Giroux. God, I make them the same person.
You do this so often. I love it. Sorry.
He gets Florent Giroux, who is another one of those jockeys.
Right.
But like Mena does not inspire Derby horse to me.
Gotcha.
And I feel like there are horses in here who are ultra talented, and so Rosario, very good jockey. But we always often talk about I want Rosario closing, not on speed.
Also true.
So there's just enough here against it to me that I don't think that's where I want to end up. I think it needs to take a huge step forward, and I think others with a small step forward would be able to overcome them.
We're also against Tuggle, which is coming from the Jeremiah Englehart barn, and that dude has been hot at Saratoga with these 2-year-olds, I feel like, and we're both against him. I think, and maybe you're the same way. I noticed it was rained off the turf in his first start, and he's by point of entry with Screams Turf. So I think that this is a horse that you see him show up back on turf, especially in a stakes race. If he tries dirt a couple times, fire.
Yeah,
but not here.
Also, was bet down to 6-5 in that race in the 6-horse field. Montauk Daddy came back to win, but came back to win on the turf, not the dirt. So that again knocks that down a little bit. And when you go wire to wire in a 6-horse field as a 2-year-old and you're the favorite, I'm not as impressed.
Right. What did you do?
Right. I want to see. I talked about why I like that 2-horse being able to stalk and win, not be in the lead and win. You need to learn to be professional at an early age. You're not always going to be the fastest horse in every race, and every single one of these horses could fire to the lead. So I'm looking for horses who can't. That could point to Peruvian Bay, who would be one that if you really wanted to add another horse, that would be the route I would go, because I would rather take 10-1 on a closer in a race full of speed than I would take 6-1 on a horse who I don't think is fast enough to make the lead, and based on the past precedents needs it.
Even with Julian Lipper in the saddle? I got you.
I would still rather take the
Julian's
10-1.
a nice guy. Julian's a nice guy.
Great turf rider.
Yes, amazing turf rider. Leg 2 of the late pick 4 is race 9 on the card. That's going to be the grade 1 $500,000 4-star Dave handicap. It's Breeders' Cup winner in for the TVG mile. You got a field of 10 entered, including 2 females, which I find really interesting. They're going a mile over the inner turf course. Favoritism is on one of the 2 females, which is even more surprising. Uni, 5-2. She's got her Chad Brown stablemate Raging Bull in there at 3-1. What's really interesting about this is you've got 3 horses coming from the poker, 4 horses coming from the Forbidden Apple. Neither race's winner came. It's all the after rans that are showing up from those races for a grade 1 in here. Before we get into it, I do want to mention, if you are interested in kind of the official Racing Dudes preview and kind of an analysis of all the horses, go to racingdudes.com. Aaron's got his whole preview page up there as well. You can see who he picked on top. I'm pretty sure you and I are going to agree, at least with his top pick in here as well. And I know that Aaron actually kind of went 3 deep if you're playing multis like we are. What's your plan?
Well, I'll be using his top pick, I'm sure. But I bet I am the only one with this top pick. First off, you think God Stormy's running in this race?
Yeah,
you do.
I do because after, and then I said it on the show like 3 days ago, I just feel like I just said it earlier today. After the race, Cassie's like, Gary Barber really wants to run the 4-star Dave next week, and if she comes out okay, she's going. So you have to think Kathleen committed to March to the Arch before he knew that, right? I was going to ask you about that, because that was one of the more confusing parts of this race. So anyway, I'm not going to use. Anyway, my top pick is the other Chad Brown. Major Look. I'm going to go to Major Look. Yeah. I think that the 9-horse here is loaded. Absolutely set up. Love this horse for a big race. It's a 5-year-old out of More Than Ready. I've talked a lot about second time out as a 4-year-old. Second time out as a 5-year-old for Chad Brown's a great angle. He gets these horses ready and then fires heavy second time out. If you look, last time it was over yielding turf in the Forbidden Apple. Now we're going to go over firm turf. I'm assuming firm turf, which this horse is significantly better at. If you look at the progression since it went to the Brown Barn, 98 to career best by her first time out, and then comes back, runs a 101 in the poker. This was last year in 2018. Runs a 98 in this 4-star Dave. Very good race. And that was a wire-to-wire Voodoo song win where Delta Prince was really good too. Mm-hmm. But that was over a good turf. And Voodoo was just unbeatable that year. Last year, Voodoo, you could not touch him at Saratoga. Unbelievable. And then got it was a 23-2, 46-4, but rather easy 23 and 46-4. Comes back after a literally year layoff. Runs a 1-mile race over yielding, which I don't think this horse wants. I think this horse wants firm. Runs very well, 98 buyer. Mm-hmm. If we can take a step forward here, 10-1 is an absolute gift. Oh, yeah. And this race is wide the bleep open. Yeah. Like I almost considered going all in this race because the horse that I think is the best horse, I think is going to have some trouble getting it done. So the 9 is my top pick. I have 2 other must-use. The best horse in the race is 3 Uni. Yes, but she is facing males. She's going to be closing from a ways back. She's also second time out as a 5-year-old, also by More Than Ready. Rosario fits perfectly with this horse, won 6 in a row. You got to use this horse. I'm not sure if she brings her A game if she wins though. And that is the scary part. She needs to improve off that 98-101 level to be able to win this race. And there's a lot of horses that can run that race in here that are improving. The other horse I think you have to use is Raging Bull. You can shake your head all you want, but this horse has run into bricks and mortar the last 2 times out. Delta Prince before that. This horse is very good at Saratoga. Don't discount that. 2-for-2 career. Also does well at a mile, which is something that I think is a very specific distance. It broke its maiden a mile, came back and won an optional claimer at a mile, runs second at a mile next time out. The only other time it ran a mile was its debut. That was at Keeneland over a good turf in a funky race where it was charging late and just didn't get the job done, ended up running 4th. I think this mile distance may be the best distance for this horse. This is a significantly easier spot. You also have a 4-year-old campaign that we're working here. First off a layoff, but in form because of the cycle. I think Raging Bull could step forward off the 102. And if so, that's your best horse in this race. If anybody can beat a 102 buyer, yes, that's your winner. Who is riding the horse, Mike? Jose Ortiz. I didn't know which horse you meant. Like the one we just talked about, Raging Bull. Jose Ortiz. Jose Ortiz. Not Joel Rosario. Not Javier Castellano, not even Irad, who was so much better on a closer than Jose Ortiz. No, we're putting Jose Ortiz, a speed rider, on a closer. And I would actually argue that he actually is better when he's longer than a mile. I don't like Raging Bull. I am completely against Raging Bull in this spot. Yeah. Look, Jose Ortiz, I'll just totally candid. I like Irad more. I think he's a better jockey. Jose has knocked me out of more pick 4s and pick 5s in this freaking Saratoga. I mean, he's been riding 30 winners extremely well.
Extremely well. And he has a positive ROI with Mr. Chad Brown.
Which is not easy to do.
No, because he gets bet a lot. I
Yes,
don't know if that means you're on the other Chad Brown and you're winning races.
Yeah.
So
You know what's okay? So we're in agreement on 2. Uni and Made You Look. I thought I was gonna have to make a case for Made You Look. I have 6 bullet points about why I love Made You Look. You hit 5 of them.
on top. Like on top.
Yeah.
Knuckles.
Yeah. So Made You Look. The only thing you didn't touch is Chad Brown and Jose Lescano. He's only used him 12 times. He's won 5 times with him, and he's got a positive ROI. I know it's a small sample size, but I like that about him. I did put Uni on there, and I cannot get Uni's race in the perfect sting out of my brain. When I think Uni, you watch that. I mean, literally, Joel Rosario didn't move an inch. She was the last into the turn, and she went out wide on her own. He didn't even pull her. She just went, okay, it's time to go. Like, how freaking smart is that horse that she's going, and here we go.
Well, I use the other 2 Chad Browns. I have to use Uni. That's the thing. If you like either Make You Look or you like Raging Bull, you have to use Uni because Uni's in this race for a reason. He thinks she's as good or better than those 2 horses. So, like, I would love to play against Uni, but I can't see how you don't defensively use Uni because she can't be the reason you lose the pick 4.
Oh, no.
Right? Like, that's the...
Especially if it's a female beating the boys in this one, which brings me to Got Stormy. And I went back and forth on Got Stormy because if you heard our recap show, you heard me gush about this horse. I loved Got Stormy. I thought she had one of the best performances of the entire Saratoga meet when she won the De La Rose Stakes because she just did it so easy, going a mile over the inner turf course, which is what we're doing here.
Yep.
Cassie wouldn't bring her back if she wasn't doing well. I don't care what Gary Barber says. If he thinks that she's not doing well enough, he'd say, no, wait until the Woodbine Mile like I originally wanted. We saw him do it with Shamrock Rose for the Breeders' Cup, right? She won at Keeneland. She came back a couple weeks later and won the Breeders' Cup. But here's what scares me.
Shamrock Rose didn't win the Breeders' Cup. She went 4th.
No, you didn't. Marley's Freedom. Shamrock Rose upset the Breeders' Cup. Philly Mare Turf. The Philly Mare Sprint. Shamrock Rose.
Oh, Shamrock Rose. Oh, I was thinking Concrete Rose because I love Concrete
Rose.
Concrete
Rose. You do always love it. That's true. I'll forget
you
that.
say Rose, I just think of Concrete Rose. That's all that happens.
No, but so here's the thing. Look, you got Stormy pulled up right there.
Yeah.
Where's Tyler Gaffleone? And you brought this up. Like, I wish I had Tyler's number so I could call him and just ask, why are you on March to the Arch? Neither one of us are picking him. I mean, he's got a chance because, like you said, this is a very deep field, but he had to have committed, or maybe it's loyalty to Live Oak because they have a lot of horses in Florida with Cassie. I don't know. It worries. I would be so confident about her if Tyler was riding, but now you've got Ricardo who never rides for Mark Cassie. I feel like that was just Mark Wayne. Who's left? And got Ricardo.
That is my biggest problem.
Yeah,
is that they're both Cassie horses. So Gaffleone could have stayed on Got Stormy because they're both Cassie horses. Like
right.
So I'm not using either the 6 or the 1. I don't love quick turnaround horses in general, especially when they are going up in class. And this is
very much
really going up in class.
Because the De La Rose, if you don't know, that was restricted to non-stakes winners of 2019.
Yes.
So now no stakes winners to now grade 1.
And I love me some slam dunk racing. I love Beau Recall. Beau Recall would be 30-1 in this field.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch Beau Recall in this field.
And Beau Recall beat Got Stormy 2 back going a mile. Like, so
that just.
I feel like this is too deep of waters for Got Stormy, and I'm not willing to take 6-1 because I think this horse is going to take money. If this horse was 30-1, and I'm going 6 deep, I'm going 5 deep here. I would consider going the 6 deep with Got Stormy at 30-1. I just think this is a way too aggressive spot too quickly. She ran really well last time out, but she's going to need to improve significantly to be able to do that. It's not going to be the same style of trip. I'm not sure she's going to get a 110 to run into. A lot of these horses can do 133. There are too many things here that at 6-1, I'm not willing to take. The 114 is enticing. 114 is a really low weight for her. So that to me is a little bit enticing, but I ended up going to the 2 outside of her. So
are you going 5 deep?
I'm going 5 deep here.
Wow. Okay. You really did delight this. I mean, this is a tough field. You really are going for it.
Look, I consider going all. I don't see a ton of speed, which means that someone could wire this field. It scares the crap out of me. There's 2 speed horses. If one of them doesn't go, I'm really worried.
Between Gadoo and Dr. Edgar, right?
Yeah,
Gadoo you're thinking of.
And so Dr. Edgar, Gadoo is going to go. Dr. Edgar's last race is sneaky incredible. Like, he runs a 97 at a mile, but goes 23, 46 and 3, 110 and 2, no breather, runs home in 132 and 2.
22 seconds, yeah.
3/5 of a second faster than your girl Got Stormy. and misses by hits fourth, but only misses by a head. And it's a nose to Hembry and a nose to Crumpus. Pucci Factor, who's run really well, won that race. So the 2 scares me, but I'm hoping that the 2 and the 10 Gadoo hook up. If either scratches, use the other. But I think it sets up well then for both Krampus and Hembry, who are just hard triers who might get the best trip here. And if you look at their last races, Hembry last time out on the yielding turf, again, I like him going back over to the firm turf. 5 races at Saratoga, 1 win, 3 seconds. You look at Krampus, 20-1. We're getting 20-1 in a horse that ran close to a lot of these horses last time out, missed the win by a head, ended up running third. Now we're getting second off a layoff later in the 5-year-old season. Mott's been training really, really well. His barn's been going well. Alvarado's been getting horses like this home. I mean, this has a little bit of that Mr. Haverkamp feel, really. I'm willing to take a shot at a price here if I'm going to go 5 deep, and I like the 20-1 on Krampus. Is going to be ignored in this spot.
See, now you got me thinking. I might switch. Got Stormy out for Krampus. The Santana factor is just killing me. I left it on, but I was like, maybe Mike will have a horse that'll make me want to change.
It's rough. I like Hembry more than I like Krampus, but Hembry also likes running second. I mean, but like 28 races, 6 wins, 10 seconds. That's pretty damn good. Krampus, 15 starts, 5 wins. I mean, these are winning horses that are going to be closing late, and it really might just come down to who gets the best trip. So I want as many bullets in my 6 shooters I can get of these closer horses to hope that I have the right one who gets the trip,
the best trip
to get home.
Especially with the inner turf course, because it's narrower, it's a shorter stretch. It really is all about the jockey when you time that right. Speaking of Hembry, so if you bought the wagering guide, or I'm sorry, like the inside track guide to the whatever stakes from the dues before, you've seen that Aaron does one of the things he recommends is the best bet to place or show. I'm thinking Hembry. If we did this, Hembry at like 100%. Because this horse, like you said, just loves to finish second. He's got 2 wins, 8 seconds in 12 starts at a mile. At Saratoga, it's a win in 3 seconds in 5 starts here. This horse loves to run second. So if you're playing exotics, key Hembry. Just key Hembry in second, maybe a little bit in third, but mostly just key him in second.
This is a classic race where I would say it's a great spot to take a stand and play a $2 try. Put 1 horse on top and 3 underneath and hope you're right. Because you're going to get paid. No matter who it is, you're going to get paid if you're right on in this spot, just because of how competitive this race is.
Leg 3 of the pick 4 is going to be race 10 on the card at Saratoga. We're going to head back to the main track. We've got 8 fillies entered to go 6 furlongs. This is going to be a straight allowance for non-winners and one other than. Favoritism is on the 4, La Chample at 5-2 for trainer Rudy Brissett. She and 2 other runners we were talking about this before are actually cross-entered as MTOs in the turf allowance on Friday. So make sure you pay attention to what happens Friday. Mike and I handicap lists, like they're going to be on the turf, so they're obviously not going to be in as MTOs. But just make sure you pay attention to what happens there, because that is going to affect how this card kind of plays out. This is where I'm singling. I'll just go ahead and tell you that now. You're already rolling your eyes at me.
I consider singling here, which is the ironic part. It's a very aggressive singling.
We could not have been on the same horse.
So I'll be interested to see your pick.
We could not have been on the same horse. I want to hear where you went first.
My top pick is the 3 horse, Alicio.
Okay.
Oh, look, this horse is really interesting to me for a couple reasons. It's a homebred by Godolphin. It's a Ghost Sapper horse. I like Godolphin horses in general. They seem to do well up at Saratoga. It's one of those meets that they point for. Mm-hmm. We're going 6 furlongs today, and the buyers from this horse look like they might be a little bit of a step below. But all those races were as a 2-year-old. This is a first start as a 3-year-old. This is something that McLaughlin does really well. 31% off these longer layoffs. This horse has the best buyers as a 2-year-old. So now we're getting this improvement as a 3-year-old. The workouts are kind of sneaky bad, except for that 3 back where it ran a 47 and change breezing.
And I'm staring right at it on your screen there.
Which makes me think that this horse is kind of sneaky good. And this horse has shown speed twice. It was able to improve. I just feel like this horse is sitting on a really big effort. I like the fact that the blinkers last time improved it. I think this horse has a big chance to be very, very good down the line, let alone just in this race. Mm-hmm. I didn't end up singling this horse because I felt like there's 2 others in here that I think are really tough. They are actually ended up being the horses that are MTOs the day before. So the 2 and the 4, the other 2 I used. I won't go into that before you talk about it. But if they end up scratching out, I could end up singling the 3 here.
So, and it's funny that you bring that up because La Chample was my single, the favorite. But the 2 Graceful Princess, this is a horse that I've been following since she was a 2-year-old because she's, look at the breeding. She's by Tappet out of Harvard to Grace. Like, what? Like this horse should be an absolute monster, and that is why I don't use her. I have a thing where I have this weird hunch. If a horse looks so perfectly legally bred, play against, because Hartford Grace, as great as she was on the track, she has not turned out any kids that have been good. Zenyatta, nobody's gonna like this comment. Zenyatta, amazing mare. How many good, decent winners has she produced?
No, I don't know how many kids she's had so far.
Well,
like 2?
A lot more than she's had winners. So listen, I don't mean to belittle that, but like I have this weird hunch of when it comes to breeding that if you've got an absolute rock star mare, they're not going to produce winning foals. And it's not foolproof, and it's clearly it's beaten me before, but that is why I'm against Graceful Princess. However, if she scratches, I will add the 3 horse as a second one and go 2 deep. Okay. Because my concern with Alicio is that because she likes speed and because this is her first start back, she's going to burn up. That first start back, she's not going to be fully in race mode yet, and she's going to go a little too fast because you got her. And you've also got not Slimy, but Stones in the Road right there on the far outside with the outside speed. Stones in the Road is racing. She's not an MTO option. So if there are 3 horses in here that are speed, I don't like Alicio just in her first start back. You brought up amazing points, and second start back, I think she's going to be great. But here it concerns me. LaChanfle, Alan J. Foxwoods bought this horse for $775,000. A lot of money. They've been high on her and gave it to Brissett. And give it to Brissett,
which is interesting to me.
They spread a lot, and especially to Brad Cox. This would be a horse that you would normally look at and go, oh, this is a Brad Cox horse. Yeah. I went to Rudy Brissett, who's small barn, but he's a really hands-on trainer. I know Rudy likes her. I know Ellen J. Fox was there over the moon about LaChanfle. By the way, do you know what LaChanfle means in Spanish? It's okay if you don't. It is not a common thing.
The channel.
No, it means flip-flop. The flip-flop. I am not flip-flopping here. LaChanfle is my single.
Except you just said if one scratches out, you go.
If one, this is why you don't pre-write stupid jokes.
Not with sharp people.
True.
So I agree with you on pretty much everything you said. I actually think Alicia is going to be the fastest horse. The 8's kind of slow. It's like 46 and change halves every time as a 3-year-old. So I think the 8's a little bit slower. So I think the 3's going to get a pretty easy lead here. Graceful Princess. Okay, so I do like LaChanfle as well for every reason you mentioned. I like the price, the fact that they bought into this horse. I think that it's going to be better going longer. I'm a little concerned about the 6 furlongs. Graceful Princess, I think, is interesting because they're cutting the horse back in distance.
True.
Broke its maiden at 7 furlongs, runs back at a mile, runs back at a mile and again. It was tiring every time. You look at the breeding and you assume this horse wants distance. I think maybe this horse is a better sprinter. And that's why the fact that it was able to show speed at 7 furlongs in a mile and is now going to be able to close into him. And notice Queen of Bees is a pretty darn good horse they lost to first time out of Gulfstream. I think this horse with Rosario could turn into a closer at sprinting, which would make it a very interesting horse. And that's why I used it, is because I think it could be a sprinting closer. So I ended up going 2, 3, and 4 deep, or 2, 3, 4, 3 deep. The last horse off my entire ticket was Slimy.
Slimy. You refuse to call her Slimy.
The 7 horse. Look, every now and then at Saratoga, Voodoo Song, you have a horse that just wins the entire meet. That would be the 7. And if there is moisture over the track, 4, 7 become my top picks, because the 4 and the 7 specifically like wet tracks. The 4 specifically, I like your 4 more than my 3 if we have rain. But for me, it was 2, 3, 4, and then the 7 was my last horse off the ticket and the entire ticket.
Yeah, that's boy, I totally forgot the Voodoo song. Boy, the Voodoo song angle.
It's a horse for course angle, man. Saratoga is as strong as anywhere.
So someone had asked which of the horse. So Slimy, the 3 horses that are empty or cross centers. So you've got Slimy, you've got LaChanfle, which I thought was actually an interesting move, and Graceful Princess. If they do go off the turf in that race and Slimy ends up running, this horse loves nothing more than an off track. Yeah, I mean, this horse, if you look at her bylines, it's like she's trying to enter turf races where they're going to go off.
6 furlongs might be too short. The last 2 wins were both at 7 furlongs for her. But I didn't have the horse in the first race, and it cost me to pick 4 or 5. I had the horse in the second race. I don't want this horse to beat me again over an off track. So if there's moisture on the track, screw it. 6 furlongs, I'm going to end up using this horse.
I'm just glad LaChanfle's got Jose Ortiz on, because I realized when I was handicapping, I got to the 3rd race, I was like, I got to this race, and I was like, I'm going to single LaChanfle. And I looked, Jose Ortiz is in. And I went, I haven't used Jose Ortiz yet. So if I had gone 3 for 3 without Jose Ortiz, I would just tell you right now, don't play my ticket, because it's not going to win.
Should we just reverse back to the part where you're talking shit about Jose Ortiz like 25 minutes ago?
On a closer. It was on a closer.
Oh, where does LaChanfle come from?
Oh, shut up. Drink more. This will be better for me if you drink more. Final leg of the late pick for Saratoga on Saturday, August 10th.
Fine.
It's race 11 on the card. Mike's going to go get one. While we talk about what I like to call Mike's Thomas Special, you've got 16 New York bred maiden male sprint up enter to go. 5.5 furlongs. You're going on the outer turf course. You're only going to have 10 make the gate. It's a shame. I think 16 New York breds all going for a $40,000 tag on the turf course. That could be a really fun one.
What more could you want out of life?
These are the types of races that you love and I love to hate on. I don't know. Who do you have on top? I have no idea who you're going to.
So precursor, the 14 would be my top pick if it draws in. It's going to be tough for the 14 to draw in. So that's why I'm mentioning this right off the top of the bit. Like, I don't think this horse is going to make the gate. If it does, it's on every one of my tickets. So
it's a very nice.
Just leave it at that, right?
Can I stop you real quick?
Yeah.
When it comes to a case like this where you have 16 entered, only 10 get in, do you know how they decide who the 10 are and
Order.
the 16?
First four. So if one horse scratches, the 11 is in or out.
No, I'm sorry. 16 enter.
Right.
How do they decide who are the 10 in?
They draw for post position, and 1 through 10 get in.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 11 through 14 are the AEs. And if one horse scratches the main, then the 11 gets in next. And so it's all luck of the draw.
Okay, interesting. I never would have guessed that.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry if that's what you're trying to explain. I thought that you misunderstood me. So, anyways.
But that means, and this is relevant, I was going to mention this, that means 4 horses need to scratch out of the 10 on a firm turf for the 14 to get in.
It's probably happening.
Highly unlikely that the 14 gets in. If the 14 does get in, the 14 is my top pick. When the 14 doesn't get in, I like the 9 horse, Valmont. We're getting Rosario here, who is coming back second off as a 4-year-old. Look, I went through this thing, and I've specifically been talking about speed going, the 5.5 furlongs at Saratoga. This is the fastest horse in this race. So if you look back and you look at what the fractions were, this horse went 22, 44, and 3, was on the lead, ended up not quitting badly. Like, fourth by a length and a quarter is not a bad quit.
Right.
First time out, off a layoff. Now we're getting second out. You get Rosario up. Like, I think this is your fastest horse and makes the lead. I think it's the only horse you have to use. Would I single it? No. But you have to use this horse because it's going to be in the most dangerous position turning for home. And that's why it was that must use on my ticket. I'm going to end up going 40, but that's the first one for me. Where did you end up, Magic?
I really like that horse. I think that is probably, I know he's not the favorite, whether you count the also eligibles or not. I think he's definitely needs to be on every ticket.
Yep.
Which is why I hit the all button. If you've been paying attention, I've gone really narrow. And I got to this, and I didn't do this on purpose. I went maiden claimer 40 turf sprint.
I don't blame
16
you.
horses. And I did the math. I went, I'm hitting the all button.
Yeah.
I will tell you, I did look at each horse because I thought maybe I could, knock a couple out. I found some interesting things to talk about with some of them, so that this wouldn't just be a one-sided conversation. For example, the Rosario horse was one of my favorites. Ray Handles, he's been doing pretty decently on this, especially when it comes to the state bred levels.
Mm-hmm.
He's a trainer that I feel like in probably 3-4 years, once he really has kind of built up a stable, he could be someone we're talking about, not at necessarily the Chad Brown level, but I think this is a trainer, that instead of talking about the state bred claiming level, we're talking about in stakes races. And actually it has good horses in with this shot.
He's Linda Rice 3 years ago.
Okay.
Like, I feel like he's really good at turf sprinting, which is one of the reasons I'm using here, 19% with a 311 ROI.
Pretty good.
And he's starting to build out a barn around that. And that's really, Linda Rice was very, very good at that early. And then she started to build more and more of a barn. She got into the claiming game, and now she's got this bigger organization or operation, specifically in New York. He's like in that area to me, where he's kind of growing into that type of horse. And so that type of trainer. So when he has horses like this, I become more interested. It's really easy to throw the one out 2 back, front wraps on the dirt, chuck it out. You come back at Lasix first time out. I think this horse is ready to fire. The next 2 in for me, I think the 5 is a legitimate favorite. I think it's a deserving favorite, and it will be the favorite if the 14 doesn't draw in. This is a defensive use. I don't love this horse. I don't love the fact that it debuted at maiden 40 and then moved up and now is coming back down. I don't love the fact that Linda Rice stretched the horse out instead of sprinting it again.
Mm-hmm.
That scares me. But this can't be the reason I lose the pick 4 if I get to this, especially with some of the prices I'm playing in the first 2 legs. So
with her niece's husband in the saddle.
Well, it's Jose Ortiz, who's not very good on closers. So
I'm going to live that down.
So I'm going to use the 5 Alfalfa. It's a legitimate favorite. Sold for 8,000. It's in here for 40. I don't love the path that Linda Rice took with it. So that's a little bit of a concern, but I do think you have to use it. I really like the 4 horse I'm Elmer J. Fudd.
And not just because it's a great name.
Not just because it's a great name.
A really good one.
It is. I like Rudy's second time out. I like the drop in class. I think this horse got a lot of experience going 7. I think that he'll be able to. I'm hoping that he will be able to stalk and kind of sit behind the 9 horse, because the horse is not as fast as the 9. We'll be able to sit a couple lengths behind the 9 and then come through and get a good trip and win. I like the 4 post. It was bet a little bit, but not a ton. Now it's moving down in class from that maiden 62 to maiden 40. This is probably where this horse belonged the entire time. So I think this horse has a chance to really take a big step forward. And I think you might see that 8-1 float up a little bit. I don't see this horse as one being used a ton, because it was a real bad speed and fade, even though it was at a different level. Notice who finished 3rd there too. Quan BC is a very good horse at that maiden special weight level. It's one that we've talked about.
I was going to say, when I was handicapping, I swear I knew that name from a previous race.
I wouldn't be shocked if we did the sequence. Their Uncle Curly and Worth a shot too. I mean, these are all horses that we see a lot in those Belmont Turf sprints, especially at that state bred maiden level and some in the maiden claiming. So I just feel like this horse has a good chance of improving quite a bit, and it's not going to take a big improvement to beat this field. So that was my third horse I used.
Right. So I was going to ask you one thing, because I really like this horse too. He's cutting back from 7 furlongs to 5.5, and he had the lead. And it kind of seems like once he got caught, he just quit. But going shorter, do you think that gives him a much better chance because he doesn't have to go that extra furlong and a half?
I think that. Yeah, well, yes. I do think that the lack of the furlong and a half is going to help him. Look, debuting at 7 furlongs is hard.
It's a tricky distance.
Dirt, turf, whatever. It's the toughest. I rarely will bet first timers at 7 furlongs. So going back to 6.5, I think is definitely a benefit there. I really think this horse ends up stalking, not being on the lead. And that's what I think ends up benefiting this horse. Is I think it's going to sit directly behind the 9, be in 3rd place around the turn, be able to swing out around the stretch and have a shot to make a run. Going 7 should make it fit, going 5.5. And I feel like having a target may benefit the horse if it's able to rate. And I don't know if it's going to be able to rate. I have no clue. But look, Rudy's 32% dropping from maiden special weight down to maiden claimer. He's fairly good at turf sprints with 10%. Franco's taking the mount back, so you got to think there's some talent there. Like, there's just enough here that makes me interested in this horse. I think this horse has the right to improve as much as anyone else in the race. And a lot of times what I'm looking for in these races are horses that can improve. And obviously the drop from maiden special to maiden claimer is a big one. Mm-hmm. The 4th horse I used here was Blue Parrot.
I like this horse a lot.
This is another one where, look,
at 12-1, I don't get the 12-1.
If I think the 5 horse is a legit favorite at 2-1, and Linda Rice is sending it out, and I don't have the Linda Rice that's 12-1 with Jose Lascano, who's riding really well.
Yes, he is.
You deserve to lose if that horse wins. Like that really to me is the bottom line, especially at 12-1. And this horse debuted on a firm turf and ran okay at a maiden special weight level, dropped down, ran a worse buyer, but a better form of a race, but did it over good turf. We can go back to firm turf. It's a $100,000 horse, and so they thought there was talent when they originally purchased this horse. I'm interested. Like I feel like this horse has a better chance at being good this time out, and I trust Linda Rice in this type of spot. I'm going to take a shot at 12-1 and hope that one of these 4 I can get home, because the 3 horse, who's another one that you could play. If he beats me, he beats me. I'm okay with that. This horse consistently runs mid-50 buyers. Mm-hmm. I want to try and find someone that can take a step over those mid-50 buyers and beat him. The 7 horse is the same way. It's a horse that's not fast enough to get the lead, runs in the mid-50s. Sure, this horse could win. I'm just not going to be the person with that horse when it does. And that's my style. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Right.
But I'm looking for horses that can improve in these spots that have prices versus horses that the public sees the consistent buyer line that is the best to win the race. But there's 12 horses that can improve to beat that horse, right? Or in this case, there's 9 horses to improve that can beat that horse. I'd rather try and find the one that's going to do that.
How about the 1? This is a horse that I thought, now it's 20-1. He's a long shot. This is a first-time starter, and so you got Benji Hernandez, who he's a bug boy. He got his first win actually earlier today at Saratoga. I feel like for him, the look on his face was like, maybe he's a little more relaxed now that he finally got that first Saratoga win. And that's got to be a huge deal for a jockey.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
But he's on the rail. Look at his works. He's had some really nice recent works, including a bullet most recently. He's on the rail. So especially in a sprint, it's go. It's go from that spot. He gets that 7-pound weight allowance. He obviously didn't make your ticket. So what did you think about You Said Hello?
I wasn't interested. I mean, the breeding doesn't scream turf to me, especially turf sprint. Big Brown's generally longer. The Tomlinson was a 280 for the distance. So that's a knock. I feel like this is a prep race for this horse to go long. Gary Sieska is 3% turf sprinting.
Yeah, he doesn't have good stats.
I mean,
you have to, if you want to bet him, you have to ignore that whole trainer line.
Yeah, you're like 5%, like 1 for 20 first-time starters, 0 for 9 debuting in maiden claimers. this screams to me, especially with the Bug Boy, let's get experience going 1 turn, let's send this horse 2 turns. Because Big Brown is generally, to me, a 2-turn horse. And I just feel like this is a prep race for this horse. And if this horse runs really well, so like if this horse doesn't break, is 8 to 10 back and flying late, stable up this horse, see who the jockey is next time. And if it's not the Bug Boy, I'm playing him going 2 turns. But to me, this is a pass. Wait and see on this one and let it go. If I'm not hitting the all button, I'm not using this horse. I don't disagree with your all button here. It's not a terrible spot to do it with 10 horses.
I got lucky. That's what happened. Because I hate these races. As a handicapper, the last thing I would say I'm good at is maiden claiming turf sprinting.
Look, man, I think that the all button is one of the most important tools in the handicapping toolbox. That it gets ignored by a lot of people who play these sequences, because one of the best talents or skills you can have as a handicapper is knowing when you don't have an opinion and not letting that race knock you out. I mean, because the more times that I feel like I got knocked out of pick 4s and pick 5s, I look back and I'm like, I hated this race anyway. Why didn't I just hit the all? I used half of the field and I hated the race. Why didn't I use the all button?
Right.
And that is it's not used enough. Because I would much rather, like if I met someone who's learning about pick 4s and they're like, what do you think about ticket structure? Like one of my biggest suggestions would be take a stand, then hit the all in the next race. Because if you believe in one horse and you're not sure what the hell's going on in the next race, it's so much more valuable to say, I'm gonna put my money on this horse. Instead of going 2 deep and 5 deep, right, go 1 deep and hit the all button. Because look, you're more confident here. And the last thing you want to do is be just nuts on right and then get beat in the race you didn't even really have an opinion in. So some people say the all button's a cop-out. I think the all button is a tool. And it's all about when and where you use it. So I'm not going to hit any all button.
All right, Mike, that's going to wrap things up. We are going to go ahead and go through our tickets real quick. I will let you go ahead because you have a much nicer organized way of doing it than I do right now.
Yeah, way to go, Excel. So I'm going to play a $90 ticket for 50 cents. I'm going to go 2, 3, 6 with 3, 4, 7, 8, 9 with 2, 3, 4 with 2, 4, 5, 9, $90 for 50 cents. I'm not going to play a shorter ticket because I think it's a really hard sequence. I think you're going to pay out.
Yeah, it was tougher. Yeah, usually when you're like it's a tough one, I'm like whatever, I'll do it anyways. But I don't agree with you on this one. I went 3-2 with 3, 6, 9, singling the 4 and smashing the all button like a mother effer. If you are watching live on YouTube or on Periscope, Twitter, stay tuned. We're going to end this real quick, and then we'll take all your questions off the air. Otherwise, thank you so much, everybody, for listening. You can follow us on Twitter. I am at Curtis Kellard. He is at Summerbaum18, number 1, number 8. Corporate Overlords at Racing_Dudes. UTRRaceNews.com. We have the previews for not just the 4-Star Day, but also the Arlington Million is this weekend. Yep. We've got the Secretariat Stakes this weekend. We got the Beverly D this weekend. I mean, Chad Brown is sending all of his best ones away from Saratoga, which is not really something. I mean, they're lucky it's a mile race versus bigger. But
and then I use 3 Chad Browns. That's right. Thanks, Magic.
I mean,
Thanks
listen, Chad Brown's like D squad is going to go to Del Mar and win right now. Let's be honest. It's okay. Yeah, Chad Brown's going to win a lot this weekend.
I bet his D squad could win at Del Mar. That's
by the way, speaking of the Arlington Million, there is a horse entered that a lot of people aren't talking about named Intelligent. Like intelligent, but with an O.
I thought you were going to talk about Ketcho Endai here.
Oh, God, no.
Classic
never
Magic
again.
horse.
Never again after Ketcho Endai. He is trained by Fabrice Chappet. I think I'm getting that name right. That is the trainer in France who Saul Cumin goes and likes to buy horses from and send them to Chad Brown, like a horse named Uni.
Yeah.
Formerly with Fabrice Chappet. So if you're playing the Arlington Million, Fabrice Chappet's horse, Intelligent, give that horse an extra look. If it wins your Arlington Million, you can thank me on Sunday or on Monday for that one. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. Mike and I always say it really means a lot that you people actually care what the hell we have to say, and that you follow and that you make this a lot of fun for us. If you're playing, hit us up on Twitter, send us your tickets. If you're against us, if you're with us, whatever.
Yeah, we got about 15 extra T-shirts. So sizes large, extra large, I think maybe 1 medium and 1 double XL. So we're going to start giving away T-shirts. We haven't figured out how.
No.
And we're more spontaneous than creative. So if you have any ideas on how we should give out T-shirts, let us know. I don't know, maybe we can do a contest or do something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But
stay tuned for that one.
Yeah, tweet us ideas because we would love to give out 15 Magic Mike T-shirts that are pretty freaking awesome.
For example, if you happen to be at Del Mar for Pacific Classic Day or for the Bing Crosby, is the Bing Crosby the same one? If you're at Del Mar, not this weekend, but the next two, and you want a T-shirt and you want to buy Magic a beer, you might get a T-shirt out of it. I don't know. That could work. That works for me. I don't know about you, but that works for me.
How are you gonna get the T-shirts from New York to LA? And
we'll worry about that later. So Magic Mike, do you think we actually think things?
We're spontaneous. We just literally said spontaneous. Yeah. Like,
we have computers that decide to just reset themselves as we're trying to do a live show.
That is true. That did happen.
Awesome. Thanks so much, everybody. If you're following on YouTube or Twitter, stay tuned. Otherwise, we'll see you next time. No, we're not. We're not. Damn it! I'm gonna have to edit this because I totally screwed up. I did this last time we did a live show too. I screwed up.
I'm Magic.
And I'm Mike. Okay, let me try again.
Scene.
Thanks so much, everybody. I'm Magic.
And I'm Mike.
We'll see you next time.
You think that's so easy, too?
God, it's only when we're live I screw it up. Why? I get excited. I get excited because of the questions we're going to get. Honestly, that's what that is.
You don't understand when Halterman's a guest? I never know how to end the show.
That's true.
Because I'm like, I'm Mike.
Aaron.
Yeah.
Okay, so Dennis, I think Dennis said it somewhere on one of these feeds. That horse in the Saratoga special that he likes, Long Range Weekend.
Yeah.
Beat Dennis's moment. The freaking Ellis Park horse that crushed it and got a 97 buyer.
Oh.
I mean, that horse was riderless, but that was the same race.
Gotcha.
So another little interesting angle. That's good. I really think if I get knocked out of this sequence, I think it's going to be because I overlooked Rosario on a Churchill Downs horse like that.
Honestly, like to me, if I was gonna use all in a race, I would consider using it in that 2-year-old race because I don't love the 3. And so with the improvements you have all over the place, I think that's probably the best way to do it. I like prices. The other race I would consider would be the 4-star Day, but I like prices there. So to me, that would be a little bit less of one that I would go. But my biggest issue, and like even the Del Mar one a couple weeks ago that I hit, I thought it was a tough sequence, but I was willing to take a stand on a single. Yeah. I couldn't find a horse that I'm really like, this is the horse I want to have in this spot. If I did take a really big swing at a single, it would probably be the 9 horse in the last race, simply because I'm going to get a nice price on it, and I would want to spread the previous legs. It's a very risk-reward ticket because it would create a lot of risk in that last leg, but the reward for hitting that single and being able to go 5 to 6 deep in every other leg, and even going, let's say, 4 deep in the first leg, hitting the alt button, going half the field in the feature, and then singling the last. That's a $50-some-odd ticket that's going to return minimum 800 if that 9 horse wins. So if I did single, that's the aggressive point that I would get, and then you can really spread out. But that's not an easy race to single, and you're really projecting a lot of improvement. So dynasty picks, Dylan Davis, he's not been riding great. That is definitely a problem with the 3-horse Alicio. But if I'm going to take a cold rider, I'd rather have a cold rider on speed than I would closing. It's a lot less decisions.
He's probably going to be pressing too, because he's going to be like, gotta go.
It's a lot less decisions. Your decision is fire. And so I don't, when I'm looking at horses who, when I'm looking at jockeys, I take more value when the horse is coming from off the lead than when they are a speed rider, especially in shorter races. 2 turns than speed riding is more important to me, but a single turn, I'm not as worried who the jockey is on speed horses.
Nick asked, do you guys watch this another handicapper show? I try to listen to Steve Bick most of the time. Steve Bick's interesting. If you've listened, he has 3 hours to fill 5 days a week. He's out right now because he had, I think he had a detached retina. Something weird happened. He's not on right now, but normally he's got 3 hours, 5 days a week. That's a lot of horse racing to talk about. And so he does a great job of covering all aspects. So he talks pedigree, he talks international. His Monday shows are probably the best, because Monday and Fridays, because Monday he brings in all the winning connections. It's like what we try to do, except he's actually calling the people who won to get their input instead of 2 bums talking about it. And then on Friday, he usually gets Jay Privman in from DRF. He gets maybe 1 or 2 other DRF guys. So those are good ones. With Steve, and Slim taught me this because Steve, he loves Steve, you skip around a lot. You figure out who you like to listen to, who you don't care about, and just skip. I'll skip whole hour blocks or days sometimes with Steve Bick because it's very hit and miss for what I care about.
So I think Steve is it's interesting. There's two different worlds of the podcast racing coverage world to me. There is the news world and there's the handicapping world. And you get two different people. Like
yes,
I think Steve
very much so.
Steve Bick is a wonderful news world guy.
Yes.
Balin, not Balin. Beamy is a wonderful news world guy.
Yep. That's another good one. Beamy's podcast. Yeah.
I think they do a great job of covering what's coming up with big races, big horses, trainers talking about big horses. I'm a guy who plays a lot of claiming races, and they're never going to talk about a claiming horse. Just straight up. I really like Scott Carson's podcast. Scott Carson won the NHC a few years back. He runs Public Handicapper. It's a website where you can compete for free seats in big tournaments. I definitely check that out. He does a really good job of covering the big feature races. He's someone who I try to get on our podcast because I respect him from a handicapping angle. We go back and forth on Twitter quite a bit. So he's one that I would definitely recommend. I think the In the Money podcast is interesting. That is Fortentel and
Kinchin, right? Kinchin.
Yeah, and Kinchin's a contributor for Racing Dudes for our guides. They started.
He's on Saratoga Live every day.
Saratoga Live now every day. They started a website and have started a podcast that focuses on it. The number one thing I listen to, I think you should listen to anything you can if you have the time, because everyone's opinion is relevant to how you're going to form your best opinion. And you take whatever people that you trust and the angles that you hear and you see, and you use that and grow with that. I think that's the best way from a handicapping perspective to look at it. I don't necessarily love the people on the show, but I find talking horses very interesting on Naira's channel.
Yeah.
I like watching the live feeds at Del Mar and watching John Lees and Magic give winners. I like watching the live local feeds from the track because they know more than I do sometimes about those tracks. And I think that is a way to get an inside edge. You'll notice we're covering mainly Saratoga and Del Mar. That's what we know the best. We're not covering these random little tracks because we were struggling on those when we did that. So I would say go to the track that you're playing and find the people that are talking about that specific track who watch it every day in and day out, know the races, know the jockeys, know the horses. They're going to give you the best information that can help you find different horses to use.
Dennis had asked earlier, I responded in the chat, but I'll bring it up now, about we're talking about Got Stormy, how she's wheeled back here. We're talking about how either Cassie didn't do this. He might still do the Woodbine Mile. If she races however she does, he might still send her. That is, I believe, the only division that does not have a split for males and females. You've got male and female sprinting on the dirt. You've got obviously the classic distance. You've got male and female turf, but a turf mile is where they split that. Actually, and there's not a turf sprint for the females either, right? You have to go, or is there?
I bet there is.
There is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't think of it right now. One right there. Anyways, so it's tough with those divisions where there's not as many races just in general for them to try and even get something for Got Stormy. So that's why she would be facing the male skier or going to Woodbine for the Rico Woodbine Mile to take on. It's kind of a shitty situation, but that's, you deal with the cards you got.
You're also able to avoid the big time fillies and colts in the Brown Barn.
Yeah,
I mean, they're all going a little bit longer, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so you're able to kind of get away from them. And honestly, like I would rather face the filly or the male brown horses than the filly brown horses.
Oh, I'm sorry. I heard that backwards. I was like, "Are you drunk?"
No,
Yes.
No.
Yes.
I want to avoid Sister Charlie. I want to avoid Rushing Fall. I want to,
You say you were avoiding. You wanted to run against Sister Charlie. I was like,
I would rather take a shot at who's the 4-horse? I can't remember his name now that I use. Or Major Look, the 9-horse. I'd rather take a shot against Major Look than I would against Sister Charlie Rushing Fall.
Yes. Or Raging Bull.
A Raging Bull. Right? So if I'm Got Stormy here, and I'm looking for the biggest possible first against the weakest field, that's probably it.
Nick, you asked about the opinions. I told you Intelligent. Bricks and Mortar is a deserving favorite, but I would watch out for Intelligent in that one.
I haven't looked at Arlington yet. I just got through Del Mar and
I'm going to pull up
for Friday. I'm writing an article for Racing Dudes over the weekend for the Samos Keys, so I'm working on that. So I've looked at Saratoga and Del Mar through Saturday as of yet, but I haven't gotten a chance to get to Arlington at all. And I probably will only play the pick 4, maybe the pick 5, and if I do, I'll make sure I tweet out my ticket for what I'm using in that late sequence with all the stakes.
Let me see here. That's not. Where is it? I swear.
Are you just live? Yeah. Fire any questions you want, Zenyatta Mafia. We just are kind of hanging out answering questions here.
That's that's Emily. That's who took me to the horse farm.
Oh, there you go. Emily, you should listen to the podcast.
If she asks me who, I've tried, she doesn't care. If you
just download then.
Just don't. I'm actually concerned about what she's going to say. I almost died on Tuesday when she took me. I didn't tell that's part of the story. I told you the story before. I don't know if it was on air or not, about how I almost a racehorse almost killed me.
Oh, not
because I found out I'm allergic.
Oh, yes, you did tell that on air.
Okay, yeah. Well, I even took Benadryl before I went, and I still almost died. Like, she and the person who owned the farm were looking at me like, "Are you sure you should be here? You're really red." And I'm like, barely seeing a puppy. I was like, "But it's horses."
Like, I'm sure I shouldn't be here.
Yes,
but I still am.
Yeah. I'm trying to find the Arlington draw information because I had everything. There it is.
Do I do a little quick cap here?
Well, I was just going to look at literally at the draw. Beverly D, Sister Charlie. I don't know how you don't. I mean, I said this when she came back and won. It looked so incredible. I said that the plan is to repeat what she did last year, which was win at Belmont, go to the Beverly D, go out to the Breeders' Cup. Like, that's exactly what she's going to do. Magic Wand is in here, but Magic Wand,
I feel bad for Magic Wand.
I do too.
Someone needs to give Magic Wand a freaking break. Like, it has been ridiculous how much this horse has run in huge spots, like time and time again.
Let's take a look at Fleeting, because I just know she's 5-2.
Lost a star catcher last 2 times out, coming over for Aiden O'Brien, equivalent of about a 90 buy or so. So she needs to improve if she's going to be able to compete in this. Likes going 1.5 miles, so she should have no issues with the distance.
Coolmore owned. 3-year-old filly doing this. I know it's an O'Brien horse, but a 3-year-old filly in this against Sister Charlie. Would you? What 3-year-old? I mean, Enable is a 3-year-old against Sister Charlie right now. You wouldn't want to take, right? I don't know, but maybe Enable's not the right person to use, but literally any other horse at age 3.
So what do you think Theus does? Is this another rabbit? Because if Theus
this is Sister Charlie's rabbit,
right? But if Theus isn't a rabbit, Competition of Ideas is Lone Speed is the brown horse.
Could be interesting.
So if Theus scratches, I'm using Competition of Ideas from a Lone Speed perspective.
Good point.
If Theus doesn't scratch, then it's
just Thorhammer Sister Charlie into oblivion.
I don't know, man. Like, Sister Charlie is just the horse I want to beat if I'm playing pick 4s. If I'm playing a single race bet to win, it's obvious that she's probably going to be that horse. You get anything over even money, just better to win. Mm-hmm. But look, I hate her style for singling in pick 4s. And I feel like she's so trip dependent.
Yes.
And she's good enough to, like Zenyatta was good enough to get around the trip. So is Sister Charlie. I'm not trying to take anything away from Sister Charlie.
But Zenyatta lost once.
From a betting perspective, and this is why I lose sometimes when favorites win a lot. And that's one of my weaknesses in my ticket style is that I don't play a lot of favorites. I chuck more than most people.
Because what Aaron said when he was on last time is you go hunting for whales.
Yeah.
Boy,
and if I'm going to play a pick 4 and I'm going to use a 1 to 9 and make it a pick 3, I need to bet it a lot of times. So I'll either pass or I'll try and beat that horse usually. Look, if Theus comes out, there's no speed in here. And then I think that Competition of Ideas becomes awfully interesting.
Interesting one. What about that's it for that one. What about the, the Secretary, it's the next one on the card. This one's interesting.
I hate this race. This is like my worst race in my life. I can never pick a winner in the Secretariat.
Fog of War is really good. Fog of War bounced back. The question is, do you continue to play him because now he's going to be you're not going to get 3-1 on him, probably not in this one, because people are going to look at that last race. I don't know. I don't think you can get 3-1 on Fog of War. Van Beethoven's an interesting one because this horse is he's the one. I think didn't he win the Epsom Derby? Let me see if I remember that right. No,
he lost the Pluska.
No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Anthony Van Dyke. Never mind. Ignore Van Beethoven. I was thinking of Anthony Van Dyke. That's the best O'Brien 3-year-old right now. Clint Maroon. Boy, this horse earlier in the year, really like that horse. Yeah. I don't know if the competition's gotten tougher or he just hasn't met the competition improving on that one. But I really liked him though.
I think the mile is a better distance for him. I think he benefited from a really slow pace when he got into the stakes company. I mean, he ran a 25.51 and then a 49.5 mile in his first 2 stakes races. And I think that made him look a little bit better than maybe he was. I think Valid Point's awfully interesting. 3-year-old Chad Brown, $140,000 scat daddy, 3rd time out career, 2nd time out against winners. Yeah. Won easy the first 2 times.
There's where Javi and I read they both went out there. Okay,
so
I was like, where are these guys on the Saratoga card?
I think Chad probably has that race pretty covered. I mean, I don't see anyone else that
just play Chad.
I'm over. Yeah, unfortunately, that may be all of Arlington's plan. Like, just play Chad, and just hope the larger price gets home. No, never know more. I do think is interesting. So it's Aiden O'Brien, Ryan Miller. When Miller's coming over, or Ryan Moore, when Moore is coming over here, that really intrigues me. If you look at the 106 and 107 time forms, it's usually about a 13 to 15 decrease. Those are low 90s. That actually puts him right here. And personally, and this is a sire we don't see a lot, No Nay Never is a very good turf sire, specifically going shorter distances. Not necessarily a mile and 16, or not necessarily a mile and a half.
He's not a router.
No, but like this is someone when I'm playing Ascot.
Yes, I was just going to bring that up.
This is one of those sires I'm looking for.
Just play every No Nay Never when they're sprinting at Royal Ascot, the 2-year-olds especially.
So the fact that you have Mork flying over to be on this horse, I think Never No More would be the upset shot that I'm taking. That's kind of the unknown there.
Be a good one. So, and then obviously you've got the Arlington Million that we haven't talked about yet. We talked about Beverly Detox Secretariat. Arlington Million. So you got Magic Wand back in here. If you're Aiden O'Brien, would you rather race against Sister Charlie in the Beverly D or Bricks and Mortar in the Arlington Million? Which one would you rather face here?
You're going to lose to both. And the undercard of the Million's better. So I would rather run in the Beverly D.
Okay.
That would be my argument. Look,
I'd say if you're going to finish second or third, you're going to get paid more for doing it in the Million than you are in the Beverly D.
Yeah, but I don't think she's beaten Robert Bruce.
That's a tough one. Bandua, you got Bandua all the way at the bottom there, the 10th spot. Intelligent is 12-1.
Yeah, I mean, I guess this actually is not that tough of a field. She could run third in this race.
If you're going to finish third, you're going to get more money in Arlington Million.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, we always talk about how money rules it.
Is Kumar own Magic Wand? Can you scroll back
I think she finishes. Yeah, I'd run her in the Million. I think she's got a better shot in the Million than she does here.
Oh, I can't. Who owns her? Yeah, Kumar. Okay, so they're not interested in selling. Because I'm going to say also, if you finish third in Arlington Million versus third in Beverly D, what's going to make you look better in an auction? But it's Kumar. They don't.
Okay. So. Rise the Guy. Quickly got a question here on, it was YouTube from Nick. Looks like value. Look, man, if you like him, I wouldn't talk you off him. I do like the fact that he got rained off the turf, won, and then they put him back on the turf. That shows a lot of confidence to me. I would have liked a little bit more of a step up in Beyer. So that would be one of my concerns there. Definitely bred to take on to the turf. So I think that there's some value there. You'd need a pretty big step up. I mean, that would be my only knock. But look, at 15-1, you're getting the right price to play for a step up. So this is one of those horses where I personally won't play it on my tickets. And that actually, I shouldn't say that. I probably won't end up playing this horse because I'm probably going to go deeper in other spots, especially since I'm going to try and beat Sister Charlie with one or two other horses. And I'm probably going to try and beat Bricks and Mortar because to make this sequence pay, you need to beat those two, not Fog of War and Valid Point. So if I can get through this race with two horses and then spread in those legs, that to me is a better way long-term to make money. And that moves me away from Rise the Guy. If you really like Rise the Guy and you want to single those two horses around Rise the Guy, that creates value with Rise the Guy. So that's more of the strategy where I would take, where if you're going to single Bricks and Mortar and you're going to single Sister Charlie, Rise the Guy is a horse you use. If you're going to try and beat those two horses, I think it's tough to get to him in this spot because you're going to have to spread in other places.
Go down right just to the 8 horse, Faraway Kitten.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was the second choice at 9-2.
Yeah, I hope that it goes up.
Well, you're expecting a big improvement. I mean, you got Maker, who's amazing with turf. You got Velasquez, so you got a great rider coming out to ride him for the first time. But wow, 9-2. What the hell are they? Is it because he won the American Derby?
I'm not going to try and explain it.
Like, he won the local prep for it, but he got an 80 buyer. Wow.
Well,
that one surprises me. You've got how many Chad Browns in here, and that's your second favorite?
Well, and you lost to the 9s 5-1, 3 back. Yeah, I agree with you. I wouldn't. That's one I hope gets bet down to 9-2, and people keep playing it.
If you play Arlington just kind of as a day, if you're looking throughout the card, watch where Florent Giroux goes, because this guy before he became the big national traveling great jockey that he is, he did well at Arlington for a while, and he's still got. You have to understand his agent still has the connections there at the track, so that if he's coming to Arlington, his agent knows who to contact. Hey, do you have a good horse for this one? Flo's coming in. So watch where Giroux goes, especially if you can get a price. Like, it sounds weird to say, but on a big day like this, you can get a decent price in some races on Flo and Giroux. Don't ignore it.
Yeah, no, you're dead on.
Really good jockey in Arlington.
We had a question from Zenyatta Mafia in the chat about Bandua. I think Bandua is a great try super horse. You're going to get a good trip. I have a feeling it's going to go right to the lead, and there's not a ton of pace in here. Last time it faced Brooks and Morton, Robert Bruce actually held on pretty well, only missed by 4 lengths, and was never able to get the lead there. It says led, but the second call at 6 furlongs, it was already second place. So I have a feeling that if you get a chance to improve, it's a 4-year-old factor horse, so you know their speed, you know it likes the turf, you know it likes the distance. I think this is an interesting horse to use underneath. I think it's a tall task to ask this horse to win, and I wouldn't touch 6-1. But I do think this is a good horse to play in that second, third, and fourth spots in tries and supers.
Well, I remember. I know what you're thinking about. I remember he came last year for the Secretariat. He ran really well in that race. This was his first time in the States, and he did well. Mm-hmm. Beskiza keeps riding him for a while. Now he's with Sisterson. So
well, and a 92 buyer is a 3-year-old, assuming 10% progression to a 4-year-old season means that this horse should be able to run over 100. And so
he likes Arlington.
So the talent is there. It's the trip factor too. But I don't see a lot of other speed in here. That's the thing. I don't think Robert Bruce is going to go to the lead. Huntinghorn has gone to the lead a couple times, so maybe Huntinghorn's out there. Ketchoendai went to the lead once, but that was on a 49-113 pace, so that's probably unlikely. So the trip should set up decently well, and I wouldn't be shocked if 1 or 2 gets by, but I'd be surprised if 4 or 5 get by.
What else you guys got? Dennis says Magic Wand is scratching in the Beverly D, running $1 million. It makes sense.
Yep, I wouldn't use. I just feel bad for Magic Wand.
Why? Sister Charlie and Enable are the 2 horses I would run. I don't care what horse I've got. You got Sister Charlie or Enable? Nope, sorry.
Yeah, next.
Thank you. Next. That's a good one. Where is everybody? Did we lose everybody? No, we still have actually. I gotta say thank you to the 16 people still watching on Twitter. 17 now. We've never made it. Usually by the time the show ends, we're down to like 5 watching live. So this is fun. That's a great one. I'll ask you a question. Why is Del Mar so choppy? Is it the field sizes?
It's the field size.
My God, it's terrible.
They're doing everything they can. I mean, they're running 7 races on Wednesday and Thursday, so they're trying to create less races. So they have bigger fields over the weekend. But when you have small fields and then you have specific trainers leaving their best horses, Bob Baffert, like if you look at the trainer percentages, it's ridiculous. So like you have Baffert winning at 46% with 2-year-olds.
Yeah, especially remember last year.
What are you going to do? Like, how do you find value in those races without trying to beat him? But if he's winning 50% of the time, you're literally, if you're like me and playing pick 4s and pick 5s, you're burning your money 50% of the time if you're trying to beat him. So it's just tough in those fields to figure out how to do it, especially when it's that type of favorite surrounded by 6-horse fields. Well,
and sometimes Baffert had a lot of races where he had more than 1 in it. So he might have been 50% because he had 1 win and he had a second damn horse running it.
So that's been the main issue. You just don't get enough of those 12-horse fields on the turf.
Yeah.
And that's how you create value in those sequences. And those are much harder to win. So what am I looking forward to the most coming up?
What big day do you look forward to?
Oh, big day. No. Oh, big day.
Big day.
I don't know. I like mandatory pick 6 payout days. Those are my favorite days. Even outside of the big, they're just my favorite days. You have the biggest pools with the most dead money. So as someone who likes gambling, I like those as my favorite days. The meet I'm looking forward to most right now is Kentucky Downs. I can't, we're getting close now to Kentucky Downs again, which is that's my jam. I love Kentucky Downs.
We had fun with Kentucky Downs last year.
Low takeout, $1 pick 4, huge fields, all turf, all day, every day.
It was almost like that's the closest we've gotten to Ascot in the States. And not just because they have the weird, non-straight horses, but the field sizes. I mean, Royal Ascot, they'd have 25, 30 horses in a field sometimes. And as someone who writes recaps, I just look at that and go, is there a way, I'm sitting there thinking, is there a way I can just say, and the rest of them lost?
Yeah.
Can I talk about the top 4 and the rest of them? No.
It's a lot of tags if you put every horse in there.
And they did it. That's why it took me 3 hours to do all those stupid recaps from Ascot. No, Kentucky Downs is great. I'm looking forward to...
Travers Day is great coming up.
Travers Day is great. I personally, Pacific Classic Day, I'm looking forward to at Del Mar. I'll be there. That's part of it. But
so the thing, I'm looking forward to the Breeders' Cup now.
Yes.
Oh
my God, yes.
My favorite days of the pre-Breeders' Cup racing are over. I love the Stars and Stripes Festival. I love the Belmont Stakes card. That year over year, those are great cards. The Derby, the Friday and Saturday cards are great cards. Those are really like my favorite big days I'm looking forward to. I love Pegasus Day.
Yep.
Now I think that's wonderful. They've done a great job with Florida Derby Day at Gulfstream Park. Saratoga spreads out its grade ones on every day. You'll see a grade 2 on Friday, and grade 1 and grade 2 on Sunday. So they don't have those condensed days like you see at Belmont. So for me, I'm really the one day I'm looking forward to is Breeders' Cup right now. But from a betting perspective, the pools I'm looking forward to are the mandatory at Saratoga on the 16th, the mandatory Saratoga on the closing day, and then whatever ends up happening at Del Mar with pick 6 carryovers.
So you got the Pacific Classic Day at Del Mar. You got that Breeders' Cup winning year, and you got the Del Mar Handicap Breeders' Cup winning year for the turf. You got the Del Mar Elks as grade 1. You got the Green Flash. You got the Torrey Pines. You got 5 big stakes races at Del Mar. That's not for our meet. We're not Saratoga. And I always feel like I'm talking to this little brother when I talk about Del Mar, but
they need to fill them. If you give me 10 horses in there,
oh my God! By the way, did you talk about the Pacific Classic field? How effing terrible that looks.
Well, this is the problem with then trying to talk up Del Mar. It's you need 10 horses in each race that's competitive to be like, look.
Oh, there's 10 horses. None of them stand a damn chance in the Breeders' Cup Classic. But you're going to get 10 horses.
Well, I'm
just getting the seahorses.
I don't care if they all can't win the Classic. I care that there isn't one Mackenzie.
True.
Like I want value from a racing program, not.
Well, and it's sad, but
I just want competitiveness. I want 3 horses to be able to win every race, so that if I pick the right one, I get paid.
Well, I mean, there's 10 horses in that Pacific Classic right now.
Is Cali Cruiser running?
No, they're sticking him back to 1 turn. They're going to run him the next weekend in freaking Bing Crosby, or they're going to look at they don't. I know. I love that. All right, let's look at the horses that have won the Pacific Classic. Accelerate, Collected, California Chrome, Beholder, Shared Belief, Game On Due. Those are your last 6 winners. There's not a damn horse that could sniff the jockstrap of those horses that's going to be in this year's Pacific Classic, and that is terrible.
That's pretty bad, to be honest.
That list?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? The horses that won the Pacific Classic?
I mean,
Accelerate, California Chrome, Beholder, Shared Belief, Game On Due. Talk them down. Go ahead. I'll wait.
Well, Collected, Shared Belief, Game On Due.
Collected's year was a little off, but no, and that was the year the Arrogate completely
blew. Yeah, I remember.
After Dubai.
I guess Accelerate was good at that time.
He won the Classic.
Yeah.
Chrome.
All right, fine.
I
won't try and.
Why am I fighting so hard for? Where's the? You know what? When I tweet about the show, I'm gonna send out the link to this after show.
Mafia.
And Chrome Mafia is gonna destroy you, and you're gonna regret that.
I didn't say California Chrome. I think one of the most ridiculous takes is California Chrome is the most overrated horse. California, like it's Anthony Stabile. I like. Okay,
that's because there's not a donut named California Chrome. That's why.
That was me. I get the idea.
Tell me I'm wrong.
I get the idea that you have to be highly rated to be highly overrated. But why wouldn't you go like Byron? Like, who won the Breeders' Cup Classic and just a speedball that got lucky one time. Like, that horse is overrated. California Chrome beat a lot of really good horses and ran a hell of a race against Arrogate a couple times when he lost, too.
Yes.
I mean, so I don't know how you can say California Chrome is overrated in that sense when you say in the same breath Arrogate's one of the best horses ever. Like, that makes no sense to me.
I didn't realize that was a thing until you explained. I was like, who would say that?
So, Chromies, now you love me again.
Well, I would love is stretching it.
How do you learn about breeding and what horses to play? You watch a lot of horse racing, and you find like that really figure out what horses are good at certain surfaces, and then look for those horses not only as the sire but the grandsire. Because I'm a big grandsire guy. I think that can get you to a lot of horses that people miss. And a lot of times, if you see a tappet horse and then a tappet sired horse, that horse is going to be good on turf. Same with Warfront. We talk a lot about the Factor. We talk a lot about Noble Mission. Those are all sons of who then create grandsons of Warfront or Galileo, who are very good turf sires. So one of the easiest ways is look at what the pedigree costs. And the honest answer is if you're paying $250,000 to have sex with a horse, that horse is probably good at turning out horses at that specific style of racing. So, Galileo or Warfront stands for 250, Galileo's at 250 or 300. If you see them anywhere in the running lines, it's probably a better turf horse, probably better long than short. And then you slowly learn more and more as you watch these races and look at who's winning, and you find your own angles. And that's really the best way to do it. They'll talk a little bit about it in things like Saratoga Live and other shows, but that's where I was able to kind of learn my way around.
Aaron, this is interesting. Aaron said Chrome was an overrated 3-year-old, but he got so much better. Chrome won the Derby and the Preakness. I wasn't in horse racing, so I'm asking honestly, like, was the hype that he was like the next Secretariat, and then he lost the Belmont and kind of pooped out, or
no, it wasn't. It wasn't a great class.
Okay, that's
and fair. Every horse gets better at 4. Like we talked about this before.
Oh yeah.
Horses aren't developed fully at 3. At 4 is when they develop fully. So that's when you see so a lot of times you see horses like Accelerate take big steps forward. It's because they're mature now. They're a grown horse. Like they're still getting bigger. And so yeah, Chrome was a much better 4-year-old, but most horses are much better 4-year-olds. He just happened to be a very good 3-year-old who had a larger acceleration into the 4-year-old.
Yeah. Okay. Huh. That's interesting. See, no. So Nick, I would say as someone who's only been doing this for a few years, you listen and try and absorb as much info as possible. Like I'm not bullshitting when I say doing the show with him has made me a million times better or more confident. Listening to the dudes and being with them has made me a million times more confident. So find someone whose style fits you. It doesn't have to be us. Just find someone whose style fits you and just absorb. And don't be afraid to branch out and then cross-reference and keep track. I don't know. It's it's something over time. I wish there was an easy answer.
And bad opinions.
I wish there was a book. I could just go here, read this book, but there isn't.
Bad opinions are as good as good opinions.
Yeah.
Because then you know to avoid the bad opinion. If someone says, I'm doing this, and I'm having no success, don't do that. If someone consistently picks horses and they consistently lose because of those angles, don't use those angles. Like I think it's crazy when people say, I know everything. I've learned that. It's like, no, there's zero chance that that's true. There's things that every person, no matter who you are, you can always learn, and you can learn from people being good or people being bad. You can learn from anything anyone is saying. It's your job to then parse the information and figure out how to make it better, make you better from that information.
This is not related to what the show we're doing, but someone on Twitter said they want you to hit them with the link. It'll be in your notifications, but for your Saratoga Del Mar bombs.
Yeah, I throw it up on Twitter every day, and so you can find it there. It's also on racingdudes.com every day. It's got both Saratoga and Del Mar picks for a grid, and then what I'm planning on playing for that day for pick 4s and pick 5s. It's been up and down. I mean, we hit the pick 5 Saturday and Sunday at Del Mar and Saratoga. We hit a pick 5 Wednesday at Saratoga. We were live at $7,500, and man, it was rough. Like we lost a race by a head for a pick 5 that would have probably paid $6,000 to $7,000 at Del Mar after hitting the pick 5, but having both horses and losing a head bob between 2-1 and 10-1. That would have ballooned it up to like 4,000 or 5,000 after we found out we won the last, but we still alive to 7,500. It was just, it's one of those days where you're right, but you wish your other right was right.
Right. Yeah.
But it is what it is. We actually had a good day at Saratoga today too. I didn't hit anything big until the last pick 3, but we had a $23 winner and $15 winner on top in 2 of the 3 last races. So,
you're right there.
So that was good.
Yeah, that was really nice. Did you get a chance? I know you were busy, or everybody was still listening. Colonial Downs started today, which I didn't realize until like TVG was just like, "Hey, we're going to Colonial Downs for the 4th." I went, "Oh shit, that's right." I thought it was next weekend when they started. That place, I mean, it's basically brand new again. Looks incredible on TV. Watching like the grass courses, I was like, "Whoa!"
It's one that I plan on checking out. This month is tough. I mean, so doing the Summer Bombs thing takes me about 4 hours, 5 hours a day to actually put everything together. So there's a lot of time that goes into that, and it's restricted me. I take it really seriously. Like
that's true. And I would never assume that you were. And
it restricts my ability to look at other tracks, and so I've been focusing mainly on Del Mar and Saratoga, which I normally do in August. So, but Colonial Downs looks like it's put together a pretty good. Wow, that looks like shit.
Well, that's Google Maps has enough.
Don't look at the Google Maps of Colonial Downs.
That's what Los Al looks like.
But they seem like they put together a pretty good card, and a lot of the Ellis races leading into Kentucky Downs and the Colonial Downs leading into Kentucky Downs seems like they're putting together a good card. So it would be one that I definitely check out. I just have not had a chance yet.
God, these pictures, they're just not that. It's not helpful yet. The Colonial Downs looks beautiful on TV, I thought. So I just thought it was cool that there's a track. We have all these issues now too, where people. Tracks are starting to fall away because of the industry and the way it's going. So seeing a track like this come up and just look so beautiful on TV, I was like, please be successful.
I love the little tracks, man. Like one of the things I would say, anyone out there who's betting on horses, go to your local track and bet if there's one around you. Like, I love that Aaron drove to what's his little track that he loves?
Will Rogers
Downs. I'm planning a vacation next June to go see my wife's family when Canterbury's running, so I can go to Canterbury Downs for Mystic River night. But I really love these little tracks and the programs they put on. And sometimes the attendance is better than some of these big tracks. The atmosphere is better than some of these big tracks. So I'm a big fan of these smaller tracks and supporting them. Like I love Kentucky Downs. We talk about that. It's just August is really tough for me because I'm playing 2 tracks 5 days a week.
Putting the grids together for them.
Yeah, putting the grids together. And I'm betting I bet every single day too. So I'm putting my own money with my picks every single day. And so it's a lot to try and take on a third track.
I was going to see if, oh boy. So Colonial Downs' YouTube page is from back when it was still the previous time it was running. And they've got clips of ostrich races from 7 years ago up there. I was going to try and find, Dennis said there was a couple of races Trevor McCarthy had today there that were really great. I was going to see if I can pull them up on YouTube, but I don't think YouTube's made its way to Virginia yet. So we'll have to wait on that.
Am I doing the bombs for Arlington Saturday? If enough people tweet at me and ask me to do it, then I could probably do it. I want to stress how seriously I take that. Like I've made this point on the podcast before. Every single ticket I tell people to play, I bet. Like, because I feel like it's one of those, just a morality thing where, like, if I'm not willing to put my own money on my own picks, then why would someone else put their money on my picks? So every single thing I put out there, I bet. And so it means that I take doing this really seriously, and then playing something like Arlington, I'd want to make sure that I'm able to cover the full card seriously. You do get free picks every day, every track from racingjuice.com. So they'll have picks for Arlington Million. Aaron's been doing a great job crushing those type of tracks on these big days. So he'll have something out there. You can check out the premium picks. It's, I think, $10 a day to get the Arlington picks. So it's super cheap to go that direction too. So it's something that I will consider doing if I get enough. If people want to know that, I'll probably end up putting my pick 5 and pick 4 up for free if I end up playing it. I'm just not even sure if I'm going to end up playing it yet, just because of the time perspective. I'm also traveling on Saturday. I'm on a 6-hour flight, so that's happening too. Yeah.
One thing I want to talk about, you reminded me about it earlier. So we got a new guy working for us. His name's Ricky Pasternak, and Ricky wanted to just do some sort of running. He didn't know what, and so talking to Ricky about what his strengths were, what he'd like, he's really into NYRA, and I know that the 2-year-old races at Saratoga, like, that's, everybody wants to know as much as they can about that.
The MSWs, baby.
And so I was like, what's going to make clicks? 2-year-old races. Like, Aaron covers the stakes races. What about the 2-year-old races? So he did a deep dive. Last week was his first week. So if you didn't catch this, he gives out 3 to 4 horses in each maiden special weight race. State bred, open, doesn't matter. He gave out 11 winners in the 12 races last week, 5 exactas, 3 trifectas, and a super in his picks. And he's been just crushing it, and not just like all chalk in there. He did really well again yesterday. Did he go 2 for 2? He might have gone 1 for 2. I don't think he nailed the second one.
No, he didn't. No, he did. Thea's Theme won.
Oh, Thea's Theme won, but he didn't hit the exacta.
Yeah, because the 6 horse, who was 10 to 1, who got nose, who we had, with the 2 horse, who was a 2 to 1 favorite, got home.
He did nail the exacta before, and that's why I remember Quan BC we were talking about earlier.
Crack shot was a Samuel's Keys last race. Went wire this race, getting a lighter pace. And lead guitar is a star guitar horse who we talked specifically about before. So, like, it was interesting because you see these horses come back. We literally gave out the exacta in that race, but it was the next race out.
We were 1 race out. Anyway, so it's on the homepage. So it's literally, you go to racingnews.com. Ricky's preview page is right there because it's easy with all the content we put out for it to get shuffled around. So I put it up at the top. So it's still there for tomorrow, and then we'll have the weekend preview in a separate post. But just for shits and giggles, because he was doing so well, I knew from previewing this, like, today it was race 5 and 6. I was like, oh, daily double. I'll just box his 4 today in each race. It's a daily double. That's fine. And if it hits $16, whatever. If it doesn't hit, it was $16. And so I texted him. I said, just an FYI, I'm going to apologize in advance. If you lose, it's me. That poor bastard went over 2 days.
That race right there, that cost the bombs, the pick 5.
Boy, Tannen Tight not winning hurt.
Oh man,
I loved that horse. I really thought Tannen Tight was going to win that one. We didn't have a good trip.
We used the same 4. I used 2, 6, 7, 8. Oh no, he used 3. I used
3, 6, 7.
And we ran 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and that we had the rest to pick 5, and
it was Junior Alvarado on a long shot both times to beat him. So I was like, what the hell's wrong with Junior Alvarado? You gotta hate him. So
pick 5, pick 24 grand.
So anyways, he got the losing on the way because I bet. So I'm not going to bet it tomorrow because it's not going to be back-to-back for me.
If you're going to listen to Ricky, hit up Magic on Twitter first and ask if you bet. And if
you play Ricky's picks and say no, then you
start.
Seriously, but check it out. Ricky's got he brings a different kind of voice perspective for things. One thing that I've noticed is he likes to really look at their last workouts and kind of see, like, he reads into what the workouts are in ways that I definitely don't.
Which is interesting. I'm not a workout guy. I rarely Like I will only look at workouts. I think trainers try and trick you with workouts sometimes, especially in the claiming level. So I'm rarely a workout guy.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting to read through what he says and how his angles are with workouts. If I could see him in person, I think that'd be different. But I never get to see his workouts in person, and I'm not a big workout clocker guy either. So
well, and it's one of the hardest parts for me about workouts is that unless it's a high profile horse, you're not watching it. You can't go to XBTV and watch it.
It's impossible to know the intentions. That's my biggest issue, is that a trainer, like we talk about sometimes the glorified workout as a race. How in the world do you know what the workout is? What are they trying to get the first furlong? Are they trying are they going slow in the first quarter mile just to go fast in the second quarter mile, but then the overall time looks different? You just don't know what the goal was, which makes it really hard for me to try and assess how good the workout was, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Or, I mean, we talk about claim bait. They might make a horse, fire a bullet right before he's in for a $20,000 tag because they want someone to go, ooh, look at that. And the horse is actually terrible. But what I'm talking about watching is if the jockey, that's a nice catch. If the jockey's sitting there, you don't know. Was the jockey whipping the entire time that the horse was going 5 furlongs and ran a bullet? Or, did it go 4 furlongs, but the jockey the rider never moved?
I do think
you got to watch for that stuff.
I do think it's interesting when you can find out who they worked with.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I think that shows the quality of the horse, or the quality of the horse the trainer believes that horse is. So when they're working with winners, when they're working with stakes horses, that to me tells me a little bit more than just a flat workout.
Or hell, who's even on it? I mean, like the America's Sunrise thing that I talked about last time, about how Mike Smith came back from Saratoga that same night on a private jet so that he could exercise Omaha Beach and America's Sunrise. Omaha Beach, obviously, that's a big name, but America's Sunrise, that's Songbird's half sister out of American Pharoah, debuts this Sunday at Del Mar.
Should be good.
God, I hope so. But that's the sort of thing that if it wasn't for Twitter or social media, I wouldn't have known about it. Who the hell's going to know about that? If you weren't there at the track that morning.
Yeah, it's a lot of just getting information.
Yeah.
And Twitter's great for that. Twitter's terrible too, but Twitter's great for that. And so you just got to figure out who you trust, how you get information, and take it from there.
Yeah. Anybody else? Roca Rojo. I remember this horse. Roca Roja, something like that. She worked with Lady Eli.
Yeah, and that's a giveaway to me. When you have, especially when you have 2-year-olds working with winners, that's a 2-year-old I want to play in a debut. But it's almost impossible to find that information unless you have someone tweeting it. And if someone's tweeting it, then the information is readily available and the value is a lot less. So to me, it's just tough. I don't like Clocker's reports.
It fun. Slim loves Clocker's reports. I will say he loves Clocker's reports. That's his style. Especially Breeders' Cup or Kentucky Derby, he loves those days, the reports.
Yeah, it's a different tool. It's a different tool.
Yes.
That's all it is. I've never.
I mean, Thoragraph's a tool some people use. I've never used Thorograph. I couldn't tell you what the hell Thorograph means other than it's an advanced metric.
Dude, we ran a -8 in this podcast.
Okay. I didn't even know what that means. I would think, is it like golf, the lower negative number, the better? Is that how that works? There was an article after I talked about it on the podcast. Damn it. Don't even start with that. You copy and pasted a press release that I had after I had seen it that morning. That's what you did. Don't start with me. You're a tool.
At least plagiarism.
They credited it. It's not plagiarism. That is a good one. Thank you, Aaron. Garth, Saturday at Del Mar. I heard about this horse a long time ago. It's been in my virtual stable. Let me pull them up real quick.
At least we're finding out about before they run. The number of horses that the racing dudes text tweet after they run. I knew that horse was loaded.
Isn't that fun?
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Oh yeah, John White loves this horse.
Yeah.
Thanks. You tell me after he crosses the wire, that does mean nothing. Who was it? 8 Rings.
Yeah.
That was the one that did that too.
8 Rings is loaded.
And I gave Aaron so much shit about that. But I was like, this is my track. If this is a horse at Churchill Downs, fine. He's on my turf. Okay, Garth by Into Mischief. Already love it. Go Dolphin homebred.
Hot take. Into Mischief's getting overbet now.
Yeah. He is very bad. He is very bad.
You're not getting any prices on Into Mischief anymore, and the value on him as a sire, as a bettor, I think, has gone down.
Look at this. So Garth's last 4 workout. Best of 50, best of 36, best of 50, best of 37.
Who's his trainer?
Baffert. Does it go Dolphin homebred?
Raise your hand if you're playing against. How are you not? The horse is going to go up to 1-9. We'll see who else is in the race.
I'm not playing. I am doing this. I'm sitting with my hands in my lap because there's no bad value, but there's no way in hell I'm playing against.
Oh no, there's value. If you beat him, there's value. There's no value in betting him.
You have to box underneath in the trifecta. That's how.
Or the super.
That's how
you find value in the single race stuff. In the multi-race stuff, there's no value on him. As Aaron says, though, there's absolutely no value if they lose either. So if your ticket loses, there's less than zero value, which is also true.
Yeah, your value is worth as much as. Garth, I was trying to figure out who he's been. Man, look at this. So Garth's dam has been bred twice to Dubawi, twice to Bernardini, and now into Mischief. I would find that kind of thing interesting. Like, who were they breeding the dam to beforehand? Like, is it always a high-profile sire? I don't recognize any of those numbers, so I don't know if it's names. So I don't think they turned in anything. But
no, it's interesting because you have two horses that are clearly bred for turf and too long for dirt.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just interesting that you have the different style. I mean, I would say this horse wants to go long, most likely, based on what the other horses.
Could it Instant Mischief? Do you think that's bred for?
No, Into Mischief is more sprint to me.
Right.
I would rather take Mile or Under an Into Mischief. Into Mischief is just like City Zip, where I don't like City Zip around 2 turns.
But I get what you're saying. The other ones go long. With
Dubawi and Bernardini are both long horses. Dubawi long turf, Bernardini long dirt. So to then go to a sprint horse is interesting, and that to me is Into Mischief.
Breaks from the rail. He's gonna go. He's got Martin Garcia. Martin just loves to get a horse going in a sprint.
Preseason football is so ugly.
It's so bad.
Like I feel like I could.
Did you see Josh Rosen throw up a bunch of just airmail?
No, I saw him play so well. He's going to be very good.
He comes. Oh, I want him to be good. I really like Josh Rosen out of college at UCLA. But his very first pass when he went into the game was just the stupidest looking interception. Like
a dart touchdown, just to the wrong team.
Yes, that's how that turned out. That horse is never won. That's not a good horse.
All right.
Anybody else?
Anybody else? We're gonna call it a day here.
Mike's got to get up and go to work in the morning.
Mike's got to finish Salmon Bombs.
Oh, also that. Okay, never mind. I feel that I was just gonna keep screwing around because I was like, hey.
And I got to write an article tonight too.
Man,
you got to edit that shit.
Yeah, but it's really easy to edit.
That is true.
We didn't swear.
That is true too. You did make a lot of dumb comments when I went pull out though.
Yeah, that Jose Ortiz thing. I feel like you're gonna hold that over my head for a while.
I mean, I'm just gonna tag Jose Ortiz. You're gonna bring the Zenyatta Mafia after me. I'm gonna bring the Jose Ortiz Mafia.
So here's a funny story about you trying to do that. He's not gonna see it.
I don't care if he sees it. I care about the crazy people who root for him to see it. I'm not even.
Does he actually have fans? I thought everybody hates every jockey.
Like, oh yeah. Look at Twitter.
I can't because he blocked me. Jose Ortiz blocked me like 2.5 years ago.
No, there's like a Jose Ortiz fans page.
Yeah, but I think his wife runs that.
Well, if I tweeted her.
Yes, if you tweeted Taylor.
T Ortiz, T Swift.
Yeah, cool.
Table 11.
Anybody else? There's zero systems. Blah, blah, blah.
How did you get blocked by Jose Ortiz?
That's a long story. Not a long. I'll try and go short. Okay, I'll try and go short. 2 years ago, there's a horse named Terra Promessa running at Oaklawn.
The fact that you remember that alone means you did something wrong.
Oaklawn Queen, right? Terra Promessa was great there. Steve Asmussen horse. Pure speed. Let her go, right? That's what you need to do. I knew this, and I was like barely understanding what a horse was at this point.
So the 6'3" dude that rides a motorcycle is telling Jose Ortiz what to do.
No. So Irad Ortiz comes in to ride for the Zeri, which is the Aaron's gonna remember this because it's not my fault. So Irad comes in, and you remember this. Irad came in to ride Terra Promessa and strangled the shit out of her. That is like.
Well, you're supposed to hit it with Jose.
That's the thing. So Irad did a terrible ride. Steve Asmussen afterwards, Aaron said, looked like he wanted to rip Irad's head off of his body. And then
nothing's worse.
Thank you. Worst ride ever.
No, nothing's worse than Santana's rides last year, sprinting, going around 6 furlongs. When I literally went off on him on the podcast, I can't remember the freaking horse's name now.
Was it Whitmore? When he almost killed those people?
Yes.
Yeah. So all right, so he strangles her like he does on a turf horse, and it kills her. Like she literally it's 2-turn horse, so she literally has nowhere to go. So Asmussen fires him. Jose Ortiz comes in to ride for the Apple Blossom against Stellar Wind.
Okay.
Does a Jose Ortiz ride, which is let the horse do what it wants, go on speed. And she ran. I mean, she didn't be Stellar Wind, but she ran pretty damn well.
Okay.
And so afterwards, somehow I got tagged into a conversation of people bitching about the ride that Irad gave and about Jose was so much better of a rider. And I found out like a month later, Jose had gone through and just sweep blocked everybody in that entire conversation. I was a victim, and I didn't say a damn thing about Jose Ortiz. In fact, in person, I like Jose Ortiz better than his brother. He's got a much less scary-looking haircut.
Well, now Irad's gonna block you. That was a terrible story. There's no like climax. I wanted you to be like,
But I did try to tell you I didn't do anything.
I wanted to be like, bleep you, Jose. You wrote him like shit, and then you're like.
And then at the Breeders' Cup last year, I interviewed Jose Ortiz. You know how close I was to asking him to please unblock me on Twitter because he wins so much and I can't tag him in the stupid stories?
You should just hit up his wife, Taylor.
She was there. I should have asked her.
Just direct tweet her, DM her, slide in those DMs.
Aaron is still mad about Terra Promesa. I love it. It really was a terrible ride.
I will believe you. It probably was. There's a lot of bad rides for a lot of reasons. People give too much shit to jockeys. I
mean, you got a minute to make for the entire thing to play out.
You're making split-second decisions on 2,000-pound animals that you don't have 100% control over. Like there's a lot going on, people. Like I get, and I often say I wish. My biggest argument is when you're not aggressive. I wish people were more aggressive, but like it's pretty tough to be a jockey. Like let's admit, like none of us.
You and I couldn't do it.
That
they're a little too big for it.
I'm very good at the jockey video game, though. I always pick the closer and send at the right time. But that's a video game where you can kind of cheat. Like there's a little game theory going on. But literally, it is really hard to be a jockey. So I will. The only time I get on jockeys is when they are reckless or not aggressive. Because I want you to be aggressive and I want you to be safe. And that's if you're those two things. I can't possibly try and tell you you're doing a bad job. It's really hard. All right.
Anyways, we're going to go.
Yeah.
How's it going? And
we'll be back in 2 weeks. I'll be back out here live so we can do another show then. It might even be Peak Classic Day. No. Anyway.
Yeah.
2 weeks.
Oh, 2 weeks. It's Bing Crosby.
All right. We'll be back for the Bing Crosby.
Omaha Beach that's supposed to come back that Sunday. Ooh. That's supposed to be. Aaron, did you buy your damn plane tickets? You're supposed to come out here for that weekend. Did you guys do that yet? The tricky thing, I will say, this is probably going to be his excuse. I will say,
don't make up excuses.
No, it's a No,
pretend like he's a
no. It's not Aaron's excuse. It's Jared's. His son's birthday is like 2 days before a day before they'd have to fly out here. Cohen, the older one, the firstborn, the favorite.
He had birthday parties any day of the week.
As a father saying that, cool. All right, thanks so much. Thanks so much, everybody. Watch us on Twitter. We'll tell you when the next one's happening. Bye. You have to go shut that off still, or flip it around. That's pretty. That's a really pretty way to end it.
Oh, I think it's recording. Yes. Stop broadcast.
Let's see.
Edit broadcast.
Oh no. There we go.
Cool.
Great. I totally didn't think about you around. I'm sorry. I would have stopped fucking around a while ago.
That's all good, man. I mean,
I was having too much fun.
I've got the cards done. It's just the tickets I have to put together.
Is it
the hard part?
Wait, what do you mean? Sorry, you handicap, but you just haven't put it in Excel, or
no? I handicap. I have top picks. So what I do is I handicap both tracks for top picks for like all my A, B's, and C's.
Okay.
And then I go back to the first track and I do the tickets because I don't want to do the tickets right when I want to be able to take time off and then look back at the horses and make decisions if I change any. Like what I'll do is often change B's to A's or A's to B's.
Okay.
Like usually, so like I'll have some fluctuation once I look at, because I like looking at races twice. So I go through the entire card forward, and then I go Saratoga forward, Del Mar forward, then Saratoga backward and make the tickets, Del Mar backwards and make the tickets.
Right.
A lot of times horses will switch from A to B.
Just to make sure that you got the right.
Yeah.
Have you brought it up a couple of times? Has anyone questioned your seriousness in it, or was that just something you were just reinforcing?
I had a guy come at me about my picks.
Because of that slow start you had, or
no, just because he's like, do you actually bet your picks? And I'm like, look, of everyone, I am the person you cannot fucking question. Like,
yes,
like a lot of people don't, and I get why they don't. But like one of my things I've consistently said is, if I tell you to bet it, I'm betting it too. And I'm doing it.
We went together realistically.
Right, because like if I literally feel bad if I told you to bet something and I lost, and I didn't bet it myself. Because I have the money to bet my own picks. So, like, hey, if I struggle, you're all. If you struggle with my picks, you're struggling with me, and that makes me personally feel a lot better about doing it. Because, like I said in my thing, look, you'll lose more days than you win.